Hey guys, and welcome back to Little Black Book 91. I am here giving you guys another one of these impressive conversations once more, and I'm not doing it alone. You see, a few weeks ago, you guys were really enjoying the conversation between myself and Notorious, and really enjoyed it. You put some comments in there that was a little bit wild. Some of you enjoyed it, some of you had some different opinions, and you know what? We welcome them all. And so we decided, you know what? Let's go for another coffee chat. This time at lunchtime period, And some of you guys, maybe, you haven't taken a lunch break. Take it now, okay? Because the conversation is going to be interesting. We're talking about situationships and toxic love. Notorious, how you doing, sir?
Great, man. Kojo, I'm glad to be here. First of all, we got to give you your flowers. You know, I saw you pop up. I was on YouTube this morning, and I saw you pop up doing the reaction or the recap video for Owns Ready to Love, man. So congratulations to you, brother. I know that's
Thank
big.
you, sir.
That's huge. So I'm proud of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We're trying out here. Everyone's trying to be like you, sir. You know what I mean?
Sure, I'm trying to be like you. You're already on TV and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I got to make my own network in order to get on TV. But you're already on there. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you, Cap. I hear you. Look, you've been putting out some great content. You've always put out great content, but I think this is some really amazing stuff that we spoke about. I know last 2-3 weeks, we spoke about the episode about cheating, but this week you put some great episodes coming out. You spoke about one about situationships or sexuationship,
Right.
however you discuss it, and then the other one you spoke about toxic love. And I thought these were two great concepts to talk about because oftentimes we talk about from a woman's perspective, right? So women normally tell their story about how a man made her in a situationship, and men are toxic, But I want to hear from your perspective, your experiences with these particular situationships. So we're going to start first of all with situationship, sexuationship. I don't know if you want to define what that means to you first and foremost before we dive in.
So a sexuationship is exactly that. Y'all just having sex. Y'all have a clear understanding. There's no commitment. You're saying that, hey, listen, I don't care who you mess around with. Make sure you stay protected. And I don't care about who you mess around with. And y'all understand exactly what it is. And then a situationship is where it gets into that gray area where it feels like you're kind of in a relationship, but you're not because y'all haven't put a title on it, but y'all have some level of commitment. And seeing other people wouldn't fare well in that scenario, but y'all haven't fully committed to each other by giving each other titles. So that's how I define a situationship. Feels like a relationship, no title.
I love that. My definition of situationship is often is same as yours, but slightly with a little tinge. One person wants a relationship, the other person is unwilling to give it. So it's often an undefined, like you were saying, it's undefined area or territory where we kind of know what we're doing, but it has not been said. So therefore, we're kind of going with the flow in a sense. So yeah, I mean, either one works, to be honest. But let's deal with that first and foremost. The situationship, sexuationship.
Hold on, real quick. I'm going to try to post this on.
You'll put it okay.
Instagram so we can get some people out on here.
So you want to get in trouble? That's what you're basically saying.
Yeah, I want to get in trouble with a whole lot of people. You know, if I'm getting in trouble, I'm getting in trouble with a whole lot of people. So,
not you trying to get into someone's I love this. Someone said, good morning, this is quite a coincidence. I just watched the first YouTube of Mr. Whitfield. Okay, and look at this. Okay, fantastic. Got some people in here. I love that.
We can talk. You can keep talking while I do
That's cool.
This.
So, I mean, obviously for me, this is one of my favorite kind of subjects. And I'll say that because I've got quite a few videos talking about situationships and how to avoid them. In fact, actually, my second channel is based upon that principle of trying to help people avoid those pitfalls of situationships. Maybe not situationships, because if that's mutually consenting, that's kind of different.
That's a different
but situationships, to avoid situationships, because I believe that one party oftentimes wants something more, another person doesn't really want as what they want. And so, I really do believe that, a lot of times when it comes to situationships, we spoke about this on our channel, we talk about these gray areas. The gray areas is things that are undefined. We don't define them, right? So you're talking to somebody, you're getting to know them, and I think this happens even more in Christendom because in Christendom, people don't want to push it too quickly, or people don't want to get too ahead of themselves. Like I don't want to push it too much, and I think sometimes what happens is people don't want to define what they're doing. I don't want to come off too clingy, don't want to come off too pushy, don't want to come off like, I'm doing too much. I want to go with the flow. So a lot of times people can get caught up in these situationships where they find themselves in a place where this is not what they actually wanted. They wanted more, but are settling for less because they're getting something at least out of the situation. Listen, as for me, I don't roll with the situationships because if you go and get me, personally, I'm gonna make sure that I get the best end of the stick. That's you ain't gonna get me the situationship. That's what I'm saying. I am not gonna get the worst end of the stick. I'm gonna get the best end of the stick, and I think that's why situationships are such a problem because one party will get their fit, and I think also with situationships as well. What I've noticed is that because people also, if you get into a situationship, let me put it this way: if you get into a situationship in 2022, the reason why a lot of times people get into situationships is because they're not really comfortable with declaring what they actually want. So 100%. You want something, but you don't want to declare it because you're afraid to declare it. Because then if the person says no, then that means the whole thing is lost. It's almost like when we were younger and the men used to be like, some men used to be very passive, like, oh, bro, just tell you like her. No, because then that would ruin the relationship. There is no relationship, bro, because you actually like her. So there is no friendship. You like her. So go and tell her and get it done. But certain men will be like, no, I don't want to tell her because I don't want to ruin the relationship. I don't want to ruin the friendship. And actually, it's because you're afraid to actually just declare actually what you actually want from that scenario. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes a whole lot of sense. And that's what I say, that a lot of people just need to be honest with whatever you want. If you just want to just have sex with that person, communicate that early on so that person can make an informed decision. If you're looking for a relationship, like I used to have this rule in 2020 before I took a vow of abstinence. I took a vow of abstinence December of 2020, and I did the whole thing. I made it public on my podcast. It was very beautiful with this Pastor Conway Edwards. But on the episode, well, I'll back up. During 2020, I always talked about, in that season, I wasn't looking for a relationship at all. And so the conversations I would have with a woman was straight up. When they start trying to hit on me or whatnot, then I would say, hey, listen, this is what it is. This is all I have to offer because I'm still healing from this past situationship I was involved in. Now, situationships sometimes mess you up more than a regular relationship.
Yep.
Because you're always operating in this gray area and it can be extremely destructive. Because you find yourself going against your own conscience, your own wants, your own needs, and it can be very problematic. And so that's what happened to me. The pain from going through this situationship led to this podcast, and I've never shared deeply what led to that. I'm writing this movie so you can actually see what I was involved in that almost destroyed me. But during 2020, conversations I would have would tell a woman straight up, like those that was trying to get down or whatever, I say, this is what it is. And if a woman ever talked about a relationship and said, hey, I see you as my husband, I see this, I would never, she's off limits. I wouldn't mess with her. I wouldn't have sex with her. I wouldn't kiss her. I wouldn't even play around with all that. Because I used to tell them, I said, I'm going to protect you from me. Because a man, we can have sex with a woman and it'd be emotional. It's like, hey, we did that. It's fine. Like, don't be tripping. And so that's what I would tell women. I was like, no, I'm gonna protect you from me. But then I would have women that literally would come at me and be like, hey, listen, I'm a grown woman. Like, you ain't got to coddle my feelings. It is what it is. And I want to have sex with you, and that's what I want to do. And then I'll vet them a couple of weeks or maybe a month and I ask them some questions from time to time to see what their headspace is. Yeah, because I don't need you acting crazy. I don't need no bricks being thrown through my window. I don't need no drama. And so so I would have those conversations, and like grown women, they'd be like, no, that's what I want to do. And I said, all right, I'm just letting you know, we're not in a relationship. I don't need no confusion. I don't need no problems, and they be like, cool. And fortunately, I never had any drama dealing with women when you give them the opportunity to make their own decisions. And women respect that a whole lot more. And we don't talk about that much. It's women that really, because I'm telling you, I was so jaded. I used to think that, I remember I was scared to go date, period. Because I would be like, after I came out that toxic situationship, my homegirl was telling me, you need to get out and start dating. I said, no, I'm not going to do nothing. I'm going to immerse myself in work. And she's like, why? And I said, because if you go on a date with a woman, they gonna automatically start assuming y'all in a relationship, and then they, because a lot of times when I would go out with women in the past, they would automatically start planning a future with you, especially if the date goes well. They're like, I can really see myself with this person, this.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just go on a date for a healthy human interaction. I was like, let me just sit down and talk. We ain't got to have sex. We ain't got to do nothing. I just want the feminine energy around me to have great conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would, in the past, I would find that began to be problematic because women they start getting attached. So I said, well, I'm not going to go out at all. And then my homegirl was telling me, she said, listen, women are different. Just tell them up front what it is. Let them know up front and let them make a decision. If you tell them up front and they know what it is, they're going to respect you a whole lot more. So in that season where I wasn't dating intentionally, I wasn't looking for a relationship, I would tell women straight up, listen, I'm not dating with intentions. I'm out here. I'm trying to heal from a past situationship I was involved in, and I just want great human interaction. And then if it progresses from that moment, then if sex hits the table, then we'll have that conversation and be honest about that conversation. And so that's one thing that I found is just be upfront and honest.
Bro, do you know what? You've hit something on the head, man. And you know what? Without outing myself, but obviously, that is it's a really hot and truthful point you've made there, and I think this could be a really good topic to talk about. But that honesty to women is such a powerful tool. And I've said this. I said this on my lives before. I've said I never knew how powerful honesty was. You know what I mean? Because I think you grow up in learning how to be deceitful, right?
Yes.
You grow up with your boys, whatever. Maybe I wasn't that kind of guy that was necessarily doing those kind of things until maybe a little bit later. But I watched. So I've observed, I've seen, and I've probably picked up a lot of the traits. So, when you're watching and seeing, you've seen a lot of deceit, a lot of lies, a lot of cheating, a lot of people going in and out doing their things and not really considering the other party. So you kind of pick up those habits. But then obviously, as you grow up on that and you get a bit more more mature, and you know exactly what you want, I can say the exact same thing. The moment I started saying, "Listen, I'm not gonna be honest with you. I just want sex. I can't lie to you. I don't want anything else. Listen, if you don't want it, that's cool. But this is all I'm offering. I'm slinging some D. I'm not giving anything else. You know what I mean? And what I started to realize was, women would then categorize themselves. They were like, all right, cool, that's not for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, we can still be cool, but that's not for me. All right, cool. Yeah. But some people were like, listen, I'm down. Let's go. Let's do it. And like yourself, I also do check-ins because, like I said, I understand that things can change over time. So I got to make sure, are you good? Are you still okay? If you're not okay, then let's pause it and break it because I don't need the hassle and I don't need your pain. I don't need your emotions. I just want to, to have some sex. So let's keep it real buck. And I think a lot of young men, and listen, I'm not saying anyone should be doing this per se, having sex before marriage, but if you're not Christian and that's what you're doing, that's what you're doing, innit? Or
if you're a Christian and you're doing, we're gonna keep it real. If you're a Christian, you're having sex, still be honest about it. It's like we hide so much behind Christianity. I was a Christian and I was having sex. You know what I'm saying? It's like the propensity that I had for sin or sex outside of marriage, my body naturally craved that. And naturally, that's what I did. That's something that I had to put in discipline in my body, is to refrain from sex, but it's a constant struggle. So I hate when we sometimes categorize like sin, outside of Christianity. No, Christians, we sin. And so Christians are having sex. Christians are having babies. Christians are cheating on their spouses. Christianity doesn't
stop that.
Yeah, it doesn't stop you. It doesn't change the propensity that you have for sin. It's still a discipline that we have to operate under. Shout out to my girl Brittany Lee that just pulled up in the chat. What's up, homie?
I see her too. Yeah, no, I'm with you, bro, on that. 100%. I just think that it's such a powerful revelation that if you catch it, you actually save yourself so much more hassle. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, there are always going to be women that are going to want just want to have sex, and there are going to be women who want a relationship. And like you as well, bro. Like, I don't want to be causing mayhem and traffic collisions by people who are not invested in the game. It's almost like, the coach, like the law of the street, you know what I'm saying? If people are not part of the gangs, they are not involved. You know what I'm saying? It's those of us who are on the streets, that's our game. And it's the exact same thing in terms of this as well. Like, I think a lot of times from what I'd seen myself and then my boys in the past, well, the deceit and the lies and the trying to dodge around. First of all, my heart can't even take all those deceitful things I'm doing. It's even too
At
much for
all.
my heart. I'm getting heart palpitations, and all the sneaking around is causing me issues. And then it's also, again, the pain that you cause. It just makes things so difficult. So I would love to see more of that. That you just have real conversations with people and say, "Hey, listen, this is what I'm on.
Yeah.
I'm not on anything else. This is just what I'm on." And then everyone can make an educated, adult decision at that moment in time. I'm involved. I'm not involved. You know what I mean? I'm involved. I'm not involved. One of my things, I think, I don't know if you can talk about this. One of my pet peeves that I'm facing, maybe, you know, again, I'm outing myself a little bit, so I'm a bit of a bad boy. But I have to keep it real. I have to keep it real. I can't lie to my audience. One of my pet peeves now is like people that, like, if I tell you what I'm on, yeah, some people like to play the game of. Some women like to play this game where they're like, "No, I'm not really on it, but I want to keep you close." I'm like, "We're not playing this game. Listen, I don't want to do the friendship. I don't do anything else. I'm here for one thing only. Please don't do anything else." But no, I just want to be a friend. I want to be cool. Like, I just want to be around you. Da, da, da. No, but you don't know what I'm on. No. So then why waste my time? Why waste your time? Like, and it's like some people like to play the game and fall into things rather than being honest about it, that you're going to walk into it. I like to just be honest with myself. I'm
You
walking
know
into it.
why? You know why that is, Kojo? It's because a lot of them aren't walking in their truth. And so they don't want you to view them a certain way. So if they were automatically initially on that thing that you're on, then they're afraid that you may view them different. Instead of just saying, like, I'm so attracted to transparency. It's like transparency is foreplay to me in every area of my life. So when a person comes out and just lets me know what it is, like I'm telling you, I have women that straight up, I'll see them, they'll meet me and be like, "Hey, I want to F you." And I'll be like, what? It be throwing me off. Like, they'll just say exactly what it is, you know? And I'll be like, this is different out here. But I can respect it because I respect that more. And so if I decide to guard myself in that area, at least I know what to guard myself from. I've had women tell me straight up. I've had women come to me and say, "Listen, I've watched your podcast. I heard about you being unfaithful in the past. Hey, listen, you get with me, you ain't got to worry about all that. I'll let you have women on the side. Matter of fact, we'll share the women." I'm like, God, this is a different world out here in these streets. I've had women tell me, "Listen, I hear you over here trying to practice abstinence. I hear you try to do all this. Listen, that's not even normal for you to be trying to do that as no grown man." You know, I've had women tell me straight up, it's not even natural for a man to be faithful. You know, they say it's not even natural. A man, there's no way that a man can be with one woman for the rest of his life. Listen, you get with me, you go do what you gotta do. As long as you don't bring no drama home, hey, do what you do. You know, and I'm just like, this is a whole different world. So we don't talk about, we always hear about the man that is stepping outside the relationship and all that type of stuff, or he can't get exactly. I know women that literally be like, "Listen, I like to get down," and they messing with their homegirls, they messing around with women, they got a husband and cheating on them with. See, the beautiful thing about who I am is that I allow people to be honest with me and be transparent because they see how honest I am. So they say, "I ain't got the one person I know I ain't got to lie to is a terrorist." So they'll tell me everything up front. And again, that's what I wish that we could be more of in this world, is be honest and transparent and let people know exactly what it is so they can decide whatever way they want to roll. And if you're not on that right now in this season, then you're not on it this season, then you move on or whatever. But it's real. I had a conversation just before I did this, got on this live with you. I was at this restaurant called First Watch, and I picked up something. I ran into this lady that I knew, and she told me she's in a polyamorous relationship. And she said that if that, you know, they're going through some problems in that relationship, but she said that if they divorce or whatnot, she said, I'll take whatever type of relationship that me and that person aligns in. I said, hold on, Stan. So you can go from a polyamorous relationship to a polygamous relationship to a monogamous relationship? She said, yeah. She said, because I'm more about what that other person brings to the table. We can have whatever we define as a relationship. And I was like, oh, I would love for you to come on my podcast and talk to you about that. Because like I said, it's different thoughts. out here that exists outside of even our bubble, as I call it. You know, I subscribe to a certain belief of monogamous relationship. I want a healthy, thriving relationship with one woman and all that type of stuff in marriage. But doesn't say the whole world hasn't evolved and changed into something that's a whole different level where people are having live-in wives with them and they have an open marriage and there's all this stuff out here. So I always say, man, if we're going to talk about it, we just need to talk about everything.
100%. You know, and you know, it's coming back to that point, which is that, you know, own your truth, because it saves everybody else around you, you know, pain and hurt. You know what I mean? And that's how these situationships tend to happen, is because people are not owning their actual truth. You know, if you want something, tell me you want it. You know what I'm saying? If you desire and crave a relationship, tell me that you crave, that you want a relationship. But if you go mute. And this is, listen, you know, maybe not now. Maybe hey, listen. I've told you what I wanted. If you are not going to say anything different, I'm going to go with what you told me to. I'm not going to go with anything different. I'm not going to try and anticipate your mind and try to change your... No, you've told me that this is where you want to go. I'm going to go down that lane. If you have a different thought now, you have to let the person know I have a different thought. And I think so many people get afraid to say those things. Then they get caught up in some madness. I personally, I would say it's like, you know, so that's why I gave you an example about the certain girls will tell you that, oh no, and it's like, just own the truth. Listen, if that's what you're about, just do it with your whole head chest. Because like you said, bro, I personally too, and I think a lot of guys do, bruh, it's a turn on when you're just honest with it. You know, if that's what you want, you're on it, and we're not about to say anything else after that. It's because we understand. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when people are still trying to play the game and trying to do all look, you're making it difficult. Either you're not on it or you're on it. Like, just be real. And it's the same with relationships. Either you want the relationship or you don't. But don't sit on the fence, because the moment you sit on the fence, you cause issues on both sides. You know what I mean? So yeah, we just need people to you know, to be open and honest. And I actually agree with you. When women are upfront about what they actually want, whether it's a relationship, whether it's sex, or if that's what they want, when they're honest and just true with it and stick to their principle, that's what they want, it's a turn on. You know, irrespective of if I agree with it or not, whether you want a relationship and I don't want a relationship, at least you told me, I'm like, oh, well, you know what, she's strong with it. I respect it. You know, she said, no, that's it. That's what I'm on. I can respect that. And men respect that.
Have you seen that little funny video of that dude? What is his name? It's this older guy that said he's going viral because he said he just wants a woman to cuddle with and just be. He said, I don't want no sex. He's in New York. He said, I just want somebody for companionship. What is that man's name?
I ain't seen that.
He on TikTok. That man is funny as all get up. But he said it straight up about what he said he want. And he just said he want a little cuddle buddy. He wants somebody, like literally a cuddle buddy. He wants somebody he can.
Someone said Rev Randall. Is it Rev Randall?
Randall. His name is Randall for you.
Okay.
That's his TikTok. Okay. Randall for you. And he was just like, I just want, he did this little call to action of wanting Reverend Randall. That's what Sing, Pray, Love said. Yeah. Oh, Randall. Randall said he wants somebody that he can just cuddle with, and he wants somebody for companionship. And so at different stages of people's life, you know, he's an older gentleman. He probably said, that's what I want, is a companion. Say that up front, and you'll find somebody that be like, that's all I want. I want companionship. And so even in that example, Randall's been honest. Randall's been transparent, hopefully, saying this is all I want. And you're saying it up front and letting somebody make an informed decision whether or not they want to give old Randall some companionship and some hugs and cuddling or whatever. Yeah, he said he wanted hugs. Yeah. He said he wanted some hugs and put in the chat.
Hey, listen, I ain't gonna let you. Listen, I'm gonna out myself again. But listen, I sometimes I would just say to a girl, listen, I just need a hug. This is the honest truth. Sometimes
I've said that before.
You know what I mean?
I'm gonna tell you something. Back in the I had to go research what cuffing season really was because and it's a real thing. So what happened with me back in the winter months, I just got lonely. I was like, man, I'm single. I ain't having sex with nobody. I'm sitting up here like, what in the world is going on? And I said, yeah, I've heard about cuffing season. I said, what really is that? And so I researched it, and it's a real thing. I just thought it was a hood term, but it's a really, really, yeah, it's interesting. This is in Webster Dictionary. It said cuffing season refers to a period of time where single people begin looking for short-term partnerships to pass the colder months of the year. Cuffing season usually begins in October and lasts until just after Valentine's Day. It's a real thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking it's something that we just said is slang, but what happens, especially when we go back to the caveman days, of course, in the winter months, it was cold, so we put our bodies closer together for warmth, and actually for survival. So a lot of times you see if you go look in research, more kids are born, and you trace back the conception date, it will go back to the winter months. And so that's just natural even today, because in those winter months, you want to cuddle all the time. You want to feel the warmth of somebody else. You're sitting up here watching TV by the fireplace and drinking eggnog, and so those type of moments opened up doors for human interaction. And so I found myself very, very lonely, where I wanted to just call up some people, say, "Can you just come cuddle? Like I just want to feel the embrace of a woman. Let's just cuddle or whatnot."
Feminine energy. What is that about? What is that about? What is that about? Because that's a real thing, right? I don't know. That's a real thing where you just sometimes want. Listen, man, them are great. I love my man, them. I love them. But I'm not about to call you up for a hug. So, what is it about? I'm not about to text them, bro. Come and hug me, bro. What is it about come hug me, bro? You know what I'm saying? I need some love. What is it about the woman? What is it about that feminine energy that is so drawing to us as men? Because, like you were saying here, this is not even about sex. This is simply about intimacy and wanting the embrace of a woman. What is it about that? What is it? What's driving that? Where's that coming from? Because it's a unique feeling, It's a unique feeling.
Because if we go look at the science of it, I don't have all that, but I know that that's how God made us. Especially when you start talking about different age groups. If we start looking at from the way God biologically set us up, we should be married right now. If you go look back in history, people were getting married fresh out of their puberty. You know what I'm saying? They were getting married. They hit their puberty. They about to get married shortly after. We look at the story of Mary and Joseph. Mary was 16 years old when she, quote unquote, married Joseph or whatnot. So we go all the way back to those times. They wasn't sitting up here practicing abstinence at 40. They wasn't practicing abstinence at 35. They're not practicing abstinence at 28. You know what I'm saying? That's something that be based upon the societal norms due to economy, and we're working and people chasing the bag and seeking employment, and men not being intentional and wanting marriage like they used to back in the day. Women getting their own bag, making their own money. So they're not looking for marriage for survival like it was back in the day. They got their own money. So they're like, I don't need no man for all that. So a lot of stuff is delayed. And as things are delayed later on in life, now you're opening up the propensity to, quote unquote, fail in the area of premarital sex, because your body, you're naturally going against your whole biological makeup. That's the reason why at the age of 35, women start hitting that, what they call geriatric childbirth. If a woman hasn't had a child by 35, now it's a high risk pregnancy, because metabolically and physically and biologically, her body was a, quote unquote, it would be healthier, I'll just say this, for her to have kids in her 20s. And the older she progresses, the closer she gets to menopause, which makes the onset of child retardation more apparent, because it's happening later. That's just biologically. And then they get to a certain point, whether they hit menopause at 48 or 52 or whatever it hits, that now they can't have kids at all. So your biological clock is ticking, whether you like it or not. And so that's just what happens. And so physically, we yearn for the companionship of a woman. If you are heterosexual, I want to add that caveat. If you're heterosexual, you yearn for the companionship of a woman, and it's a beautiful thing. So that's the reason why I don't try to prey off natural desires. Lord, I rebuke me desiring women. God be like, hold on. I made it that way. I know, but I don't want the intimacy of a woman right now. I'm trying to honor you, God. I don't want all that craziness. God said, that's natural, bro. That's natural. Like, why are you praying against me in you? That's something that God placed inside of us to naturally crave the attention and the yearning of a woman. Yeah,
I
so
hear that
let's go figure.
100%. You know, and again, that goes back to our original conversation, which is about being honest. Okay, question: can we be honest about just wanting a hug? Is it safe for men to ask that question of, let's say, a female friend or a female person? Is it safe to ask that question? You know, because you sometimes we get that feeling. Sometimes I get that feeling. I'm there. I'm like, I just want to be hugged. Someone just to, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's safe to say it, but a woman will think that she'll call cap on it. She'll think that that's the gateway drug. She'll be like, it's like a woman saying, "Hey, just give me a massage." You ain't gonna just stop on the massage. You know what I'm saying? It's like, or a dude be like, "Hey, I'm just gonna give you a massage real quick." She like, "I already know where it's going." You know what I'm saying? So it's, but I've had those moments though. Seriously, I've had those moments. I've had this. Now this one girl that I used to sleep with a few years ago, she called me up one day. Yeah, it was around the winter months. She was like, "Hey, can you come cuddle with me?" Because normally, before we even slept together, I cuddled with her several times, you know, and she was like, "Dang, it's so cool. You can lay in the bed with me and you don't even try to touch me and nothing like that." And then even after we stopped having sex, we would still cuddle and stuff. She's like, "Hey, why don't you come over here and just cuddle with me?" And I'll sit there and cuddle with her, and I go about my business. But when she asked me that the last time, I declined because I knew what that meant to her. You know, that's more of an emotional thing that, and I just didn't want that space with her anymore. I didn't want to be in that emotional, intimate space with her no more, especially when I was trying to do something different. So I'm like, nah, I don't even want to open up the door for that because I don't want to fall in that area with her again.
You know what? And it's such an interesting phenomenon because I think because we're now specifically talking about cuddling and hugging, which is so wild. Because I think, especially as we're having a real conversation, but I don't think I've had that many conversations, if much, where I've told my boys, "Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. I just want to just tell a girl."
No, dude, we don't talk about no stuff like that. We don't talk about it today. No, we're gonna talk about it today. Yeah,
because these are real feelings that you're actually feeling. And like you said, this is a need for companionship, and this is what I always say as well. That's the need for. This is why women are so beautiful. This is why God created women. It's like that incessant need that we have is a powerful thing. I'm telling you, like, your whole day can change after that hug, bro. You know what I mean? Your whole day can change after that one hug. Your whole day can change. That, you know, a little bit of that cuddling that you had can change your whole day. Do you know what I mean? Or a whole week. Because sometimes, especially I live alone. For instance, I live alone, right?
Yeah.
I've been living alone like for the last 2 years on my actual own. So I had a flatmate before, but now I'm living my actual own for the last 2 years. And sometimes I'm there and I'm just like, bruh, I've been here in my house for the last week. I ain't really seen nobody. I've spoken to you on phone, but it's not the same. I just need someone just to be right next to me right now. Just, just feel a shoulder, you know what I mean? Or even just, just be against me, you know what I mean? And it's like all of that kind of stuff and you realize how, as human beings, how we need that interaction. And this is why obviously the Bible says, go and get your wife, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because these are things you'll be doing with your wife, but it's such a powerful thing. But again, as men, we don't really discuss that, saying that these are some of the feelings that we have. And I think what happens is sometimes, I'm going to say maybe from my perspective, I think sometimes what happens is that we translate, because we don't talk to each other as men about these kind of feelings, we translate it to sex. It's like, well, then I think it's sex that I need. When it's not really the sex that I needed, which is after you're like, oh, I've got that, but actually, I don't know if that's what, I got it off now. I don't really, do you know what I mean? It's not really, it wasn't the sex that I needed. I really just needed some companionship. I really just needed maybe a feminine touch or feminine energy around me just to kind of rebalance me a little bit. You know what I mean? And sometimes it gets taken over by another thought, which is maybe I need sex instead. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you something. I just Googled this, which is interesting. First, I'm going to talk about the fact that even on the last episode I did last Wednesday with Marcus Wiley, this renowned comedian, hilarious. He talked about, even with his wife, how his sex drive has declined as he's hit his 40s. He's in his late 40s, and his wife's sex has increased. So he said, why do men go down and women go up? And so he's like, man, can we just cuddle? He said that on there. He said, can I be the little spoon? Can I be the little spoon? And it's so hilarious because men, we don't hear men saying that we like to be held too. We like to, cuddle with a woman as well. But this is what I did while I was on the phone. While I was just talking, I Googled this. Human to human interaction keeps up throughout our lives. Even in adulthood, human touch helps regulate sleep, and digestion, build your immune system, and fight infections. That's on WebMD. So what happened with a lot of people when we were all in quarantine, people physically got sick because without it, the worst thing you can do, thank you, Holy Spirit, the worst thing you can do to an inmate, now you're talking about somebody that has killed people, somebody that could have done the most heinous crimes. If you put them in solitary confinement, that is the worst thing you can do to them, because it will, without human interaction and touch and conversation and all, you literally will start deteriorating mentally and go into a place that is hard to get you out of. And even the worst criminals hate the worst thing you can do to them. I'm gonna put you in solitary. They'll straighten up because they know that that's extremely painful. Even in war crimes or whatnot, they'll put somebody and throw them in a hole or something. Like, it's the worst thing you can do to somebody. And so it makes all the sense in the world then that in this free world that we live in, that able-bodied people would desire the human touch of the opposite sex and want to cuddle with them and want to feel that feminine energy, because like you said earlier, women are so beautiful, but they possess so much power as well. So it's because they have so much power, just their aura and their energy can bring a lot of healing to you. And so just being around them like that just feels absolutely amazing. So it's not, we just gotta be honest enough as men to say, no, I just want you to come here and hug me. I just want to, just lay up on me, just lay close to me or whatnot, and land on your shoulder or whatnot. Like, if I'm out on a date with a woman and I'm sitting there, we're at the movies, and she lay her head on my shoulder, it just feels like a sense of peace and comfort that comes over me. You know what I'm saying? It used to be like, all right, you start sitting differently. Like, you know what I'm saying? You just, your whole body just responds differently. You know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna be still sitting. If you sitting like this at first and she lay her head on your shoulder, you're not gonna keep sitting like this. You're gonna be like, you're gonna relax a little bit. Be like, all right,
that decline.
You're gonna decline. You're just gonna relax. You're just gonna settle in it, and that's the beauty of a woman. You know what I'm saying? So it's. Yes, I wish that men could be more honest about, hey, I just want to cuddle with you and literally just cuddle, or I want a hug from you, or I want you to hold my hand, or I want to, whatever those moments are that you can voice that outside of sex. But you'll realize, though, what you'll find out is that when you start operating like that with a woman, she will be more inclined to be trying to be like, hold on, because I had women like, hold on, he came over, he just cuddled with me all night, he didn't have sex with me. One of my homegirls told me this the other day. She was talking about, she went out with this guy, and she said that she was like, man, she was out of town. He came to a hotel, and she was like, listen, I'm letting you know, I ain't trying to have sex. I'm abstinent. I'm this. He said, listen, you good. And she said that night, she thought he was going to try something, and it was hard for her to go to sleep. But she said he held her so tight up against his body and just cuddled with her so tight that she couldn't even move. But then the next day she was like, man, I want to give him some, because he was cuddling with me and he was holding me real tight like he didn't want me to leave. And she said that she didn't, but she was like, whew, that made me want to give him some more or whatnot. But she was like, is that strange that he just held me like that? I said, no, it's not strange. I said, it's absolutely beautiful that he did that, because he said that, yes, I'm going to respect you in the fact that you don't want to have sex, but I'm still going to get this other need met. I want to feel you as close as possible. And so I said, that's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful.
Do you know what? That's such a powerful thing as well, because that reminds you, we spoke about last time we spoke, right? Delilah and Samson. That is like, well, because obviously people always look at what Delilah did. I look at what Delilah was doing, okay? Because before that point, Olga had Samson on some ropes, okay?
Yes.
All right? And sometimes you just want to be in a place where you feel at peace and you feel safe. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you just want to rest your head on your girl's lap or a woman's lap, and you just want to be able just to not have to think about life and the pressures of being a man. Yeah, I know. And there's a lot of pressures that we face out there in the world that we go on day by day, and sometimes you just want to just rest your head here and just have her stroke your head and not think about nothing else apart from the fact that we resting. And I think that's such a powerful image, because Delilah was doing that with Samson. The same way, he just had his head resting on her knee, and it was so soothing for him that he didn't have to use his strength with Delilah. I think that's such a powerful thing, because every day he's using his strength, and then he meets this woman where he can take the armor of strength off and be just, I'm weak a little bit. I am weak. You know what I mean? As someone called it, as I'm vulnerable. You know what I mean? I don't have to fight nobody today. You know what I mean? It's
And the
powerful.
Bible says he found a safe place to lay his head. You know, and that was just, it was interesting. I was just reading that story yesterday, as a matter of fact. And yeah, we can talk about, I don't even want to open up that door about what happened.
Oh no, you go, you don't know, you don't know, you there. You better
because
open
I was
that
reading
door.
it yesterday, and it was so jacked up that even with he was betrayed twice.
Yeah.
He was.
By
We
two.
always focus on Delilah, but he was engaged
Before
to be
that,
married to
to another
yeah,
woman. Thank
yeah.
you.
He was gonna marry her, and then she betrayed. He gave a riddle to
She
the guys and
snitched.
said, I'm gonna give you this riddle. If y'all can figure it out, I'm gonna give y'all 30 basically 30 outfits, 30 linen or whatever outfits. And then they were like, man, how are we gonna figure out this riddle? So they went to his woman and said, listen, you one of us.
If you don't tell us.
If you don't give us this riddle, we're gonna burn you alive.
Yep.
And then she was like, hi. She said, go. So she went to him and was like, hey, what's the, we're so close and you say you love me, but why won't you give me the answer to the riddle? And he was like, I haven't even told my mom and dad the answer to the riddle. And she said, but you love me and you this. And they said that she complained and cried for a whole week until he got tired of it and finally gave her the answer, in which he went and gave the answer to the guys. And the Philistines, they went, told him the riddle. He had to go kill about 30 men, go grab their clothes and go give it to them or whatever. And he was like, you betrayed me, you did whatever. But then he was still trying to kick it with her. He left, went to town to go handle his business, go prepare a place for her.
But in the family,
back, and then she was married to one of his men, one of his homies, one of the people in his little court. She had got married to him, and he went to the father and was like, well, what's up with this? The father was like, well, I didn't think you want anymore after she married you. He was like, man, I did want her. He said, man, forget it. So he gonna kill her. He gonna kill her a whole bunch of them or whatnot. And then they went and killed her anyway because he said that you the one that turned them against us and got a bunch of us killed. So we're gonna burn her up anyway. So it's crazy when we look at that story because we focus on Delilah, but Samson was a man that kept getting betrayed by women and turned into this, and he was still trusting. That's what's so crazy about it. He was still trusting because Delilah deceived him 3 times, and on the 3rd time, she finally caught him slipping and he finally gave his secret away. But that lets you know the propensity that men do have in our heart to still trust and still love in spite of some pain that we've been through. And so when I look at this, my heart truly goes out to the manosphere and the people in the red pill community and all that, because when I hear those guys, I hear nothing but hurt. I hear so much pain in those guys, and so my heart goes out to them, and I want to figure out a way for God to give me wisdom to go unpack that, because these men are in this society breaking more women because they don't trust them, they don't value them, they think very low of them, and so they're just adding more compounded trauma in our society because they're unhealed. And if you're unhealed, all you're going to do is break somebody else, and you're going to keep breaking people. But yeah, that story of Samson, when I was reading that yesterday, I was like, wow, Samson was heartbroken. He was extremely heartbroken. He got betrayed by the first woman, but all we hear is Delilah. But his heart was first broken by her, and she went and married his homeboy.
Did twice as worse. Did twice as worse. No, but again, I mean, that just highlights what we'll talk about, which is that need for us as well to feel safe. We want to feel safe. We also want to feel in a place where we can be vulnerable. We also want to be in a place where we feel like our partner has got our back as well. You know what I'm saying? We're always going to have your back, but it's nice to know that your partner also, wants you to rest too. You know what I mean? And I think just experiencing that when talking about Samson, that is why somebody who's so strong could end up being in a position where their head's on someone's lap and then revealing a secret about their strength. Because in his mind, he's thinking, I'm sharing a secret with you, and I'm hoping that I can trust you, and that when I trust you this secret, it's not going to go to anyone else. Unfortunately, she had different plans, but irrespective of that, the atmosphere that was created because she created an atmosphere where it was safe for him to be able to say, this is where you can rest your head. This is where you cannot think about what goes on outside. Don't worry about the Philistine. Don't worry about them people there. Here on my lap, okay, you're my little Sam. You understand? You're not even Samson. You're my little Sam. You know what I mean? You can be that little boy. And I
Yeah.
think sometimes we are so like, and that's I say to every man, there's always a little boy that's inside of me, which is sometimes just want to just be able just be free, creative,
Yeah.
fun, vibing, not have to think about
Yeah.
responsibilities. There's an aspect of that, and I think that's what Delilah was creating within that atmosphere, whether we like her or not, on what she did is. But when you take some of those key things that she did, she was able to make a whole man who would fight 30, 40 men at a go, 100 men at a go, kill them with one bone of a donkey's
Yeah.
jaw, and he would be one person that would sleep comfortably on someone's lap. And so I think for a lot of us men, we are looking for that safe place and that safe haven where we can do that same experience as well. So yes, when
100%.
we talk about hugs, it's the same kind of feeling we're
Yes.
wanting, you know, same kind of
100%.
feeling. So just to come to this point then, so toxic relationships then, because you know we know a little bit about situationships, we know about situationships. Toxic love, toxic love. Have you ever been in toxic love, sir?
100%. I told you that's the pain that led. I don't unpack that yet because
That's fine.
it's I got to write a whole movie about it because I'll start talking about that and we'll be on there about 2 days. But it's toxic love is that type of love that you know is wrong. You know that it's not serving you at all. It's destroying you every minute that you stay attached to that person. I will say this because I shared this with somebody today. Yesterday, what's the day? Tuesday. So Sunday, I came to my office and I just cried. And I cried because I wanted to just stay in this place of gratitude. Because I have all these videos that were going viral in the month of July, like about 4 or 5 videos that have gone viral on different platforms. I'm talking about 1 million views. And I just sat and I said, God, I just want to give you glory. I just want to give you praise. I don't want these moments to be fleeting where I start looking for the next thing, you know. And oftentimes, like I hit 100,000 views, and I said I had 100,000 subscribers on my Dear Future Wifey podcast channel, and I said I'm not going to make another goal for subscribers. I said my goal was 100,000. I hit 100,000. Wherever it goes at that point, then it goes wherever it's going to go. But that's the only goal that I will set for myself because I don't want to always be chasing the next thing. And I just said, God, you blew my mind. Oh, so I hit 100,000 on Dear Future Wifey. 2 weeks after I hit 100,000, which was in mid-July, 2 weeks later, I hit about another 22,000 subscribers.
Yeah,
you and I know it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
You don't get 22,000 new subscribers in 2 weeks. That's crazy. And so I did that. And then this past Saturday, I said, well, this is the last day of the month, which is Sunday. Tomorrow will be the last day of the month. And I was looking at my Instagram. It was at like 96,000 followers. And I said, what if I hit 100,000 on my Instagram? And I said, that probably won't happen. That's kind of just, okay. I'm happy with what I got now. Maybe I wouldn't. When I tell you, Sunday I hit 100,000 and it's still growing. I think it's 107,000 now or something. But it just grew. And I just sat there and I said, God, I'm not going to let these moments go by where I don't just lay before you and just weep before you and just thank you for all that you've done. Now, the reason why I took that posture is because I knew when I was in this dark place, when I was entangled in this toxic situationship, what that was doing to me. And one of my friends told me, not knowing any of the details that I was going through, she's a strong intercessor. She said, Lateris, she said, whoever you're dealing with, she didn't even know I was dealing with this girl. She said, whoever you're dealing with, God said that if you don't detach from that person, you will die an untimely death. Then she also said, God said he's not going to bless you on the level that he wants to bless you as long as you stay attached to that person. And I said, well, let me tell you this. If God ain't going to bless me with her in my life, I don't want the blessing. I said, I'm already blessed. I don't need a God to do another thing for me. And so God reminded me of that moment on Sunday because of how my heart was caught up in this demonic influence of this woman, that I was literally wanting to stand against the promises of God, that God had all this for me. It was still waiting on me, but oftentimes we'll entertain people that literally will prevent us from the blessing that God wants to give to us. And the blessing is still there. He's waiting. He's like, all right, this is just like high school diploma or whatnot. If you go through your grade levels efficiently, at the end, you're going to get your diploma. If you go through college and pass, you're going to get your associate's degree or bachelor's degree or master's degree or even doctor's degree. If you do every assignment right and pass everything, that's the end result. When you go through life, God says that if we as men know how to give good gifts to our sons and daughters, what more will he do for us? What he's simply saying is that I have plans to prosper you, plans to give you a great future, plans to give you a great reward. But we start doing things that stand in the way of God's hands blessing us. And I started crying on Sunday because I said, wow, God, you had all this for me. And even when I wasn't worthy, even when I was disobeying you, going against your will, that you kept loving me enough to give me a little bit more breath and a little bit of oxygen to make it to this moment. And this is still just the beginning. And so when I think of toxic relationships, I think about that. I think about how we can entertain a person that can stop us from the very blessing that God has for us, that we can find ourselves roaming around the wilderness knowing that there's a promised land on the other side of it. And so toxic relationships literally are the personification of standing in the way of the promises of God. Because if that relationship is toxic, we know we ain't supposed to have it. So the very thing that we say that we want somebody to love us. We want somebody that we can trust. We want somebody that can cover us. We want somebody to do all these things for us, but we're entertaining the opposite of that which we desire. So the minute that we get the courage, the healing, the bravery, because it takes a lot of bravery. Some people in some toxic relationships that may be even life-threatening. You may be in an abusive relationship. And so you have to handle that a different way of detaching from that. You may be dealing with a narcissistic relationship where those people are just not going to let you walk away easily. So whatever that is, I don't want to minimize it, but that relationship is in direct opposition of the promises of God. And the very thing that you desire, the very thing that you've been praying and asking God for, he wants to release it into your life. But the only person that is stopping it is you, because you won't make that hard decision and walk away from it. If you got to change your phone number, change your phone number. If you got to relocate. But you gotta walk away from that situation. You gotta walk away from it. Why is this thing start playing on there that first?
That's a national play right up here.
Why start playing on that? But yeah. So the reality is that if you get the bravery to walk away from that situation, then God can open up his arms and say, "This is what I have for you on the other side." And so this Sunday, it was that moment. I just laid before God and I just cried and I said, God, just thank you. And then I recorded a video yesterday to thank the people who started following my podcast, my channels, that's made all these videos go viral. And I'll tell you this, no one knows this, but when I stepped in my office Sunday night into Monday morning, I woke up, I was about to go work out. Go to my truck, crank it up, it's making a loud noise. Come to find out, somebody stole my catalytic converters from under my truck. $5,000 damage. They took the oxygen sensors, 2 oxygen sensors that are under it, and 2 of the catalytic converters that the truck has. $5,000 damage. And I was about to get upset, and I was like, man, this is messed up, God. And I was like, ain't no big deal. Just pay the $500 deductible, and it's fine. $5,000 worth of damage. But I was like, you know what, God, I ain't gonna let nothing ruin my joy. And that's a mindset that we have to have, is that God never said that the weapons won't be formed. It said no weapon formed against us shall prosper. Never said it wouldn't be formed. It said it wouldn't prosper. So I had a decision yesterday to say, am I gonna let this thing derail me? I had a tow truck pick it up. I called an Uber, took me home, grabbed my other vehicle, and I said, let me just go ahead and go about my day or whatnot. And it just is what it is. With COVID, stuff is back ordered. So I called today. They said it's going to take about 3 to 5 days to get the parts in. I said, don't even matter. It is what it is. I'm trying to stay in the mindset of gratitude and just say, God, you are God. and I will lift you above every bad thing that happens over my life, anything that's discouraging, when things don't work out the way I want them to work out, you will be lifted up over that. And so it's just a mindset thing. But yeah, when I think about toxic relationships, I think about everything, again, that tries that is in opposition of the promises of God.
Sir, that was a word, man. I mean, a bit of a tear there as well.
So what brought a tear to your eye? What brought a tear to your eye?
Bro, I think, do you know what? It is so funny, yeah, what you said. I think, you know, when the Holy Spirit is trying to speak to you, you know, and sometimes you got a hard head, but you just said something that the Holy Spirit spoke to me earlier on today when I was walking. I was going to another town, and I got up in this morning, and when I got up and I was walking, I said to myself, "You're so ungrateful, coach." And I was like, if you see how far God has dragged you from where you were, bro, 2 years ago, bro, you were still working. You you lost your job. You didn't know where you were going. You were on benefits, bro. You know what I'm saying? And 2 years, he's dragged you so that you can even use YouTube as a financial platform you can make money from and be free and do whatever creative projects you wanted to do. And now I'm at a point where I'm like, you just said something really, really critical, which I felt like myself being in a place where I'm like, what's the next thing? Because I go viral on YouTube. All right, but I went viral on TikTok. All right, cool. When's the next one? Because I can't sit here and just be, no, when's the next one? When's the next one? When's the next one? When's the next one? You know what I mean? And then I was walking today, and as I was walking, I just heard this. I think I was talking to myself. I think the Holy Spirit was just kind of trying to talk to me, and I was talking to myself at the same time. I was like, bro, you are so ungrateful in this season, bro. You know what I'm saying? You are so ungrateful. You're looking at elsewhere. And I think because sometimes I've seen it slow down a little bit, but it's because I've got so used to so much pace that when I'm seeing a bit of slowdown, I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I'm like, that's so ungrateful. Bro, like, to see where God has dragged you from to here, like you said, obviously, like even you saying, okay, the own TV thing. In my head, I'm like, the next thing, because, bro, that's just one thing, but the next thing.
No, that is so big. Let me just break this down to you.
Go for it, sir.
I'm going to go and edify you real quick. What you don't realize is that you may look at that and be like, oh, that was great, but I want this. I really want my own show. I really want this. I want that. But we don't understand. The Bible says, despise ye not the day of small beginnings.
Yeah.
Had you not did your YouTube channel, you wouldn't have brought the visibility to even be asked to be on the OWN to do that recap stuff. You would have never been asked. They wouldn't even know who you were. But because you created a perfect little space for yourself to review reality shows and talk to those guests and that type of stuff, you carved out a niche that God designed just for you to do. I ain't doing that. I don't have the anointing to do that. That's your thing. And so then you caught the eyes of the OWN network. They got that YouTube channel got like 5.6 million subscribers on it. And you don't know who is watching that's looking to hire you for the next deal that you've been praying and asking God for. So then when you look up and God bless you to host a show, and they say, you know what? You're like, how'd you find me? They say, oh, well, I was watching this thing or whatever, and I saw how you were vibing with the other co-hosts. And I said, God, it'd be great to have you do this. And now I want to fly you out in person, and I want you to do this. Despise ye not the day of small beginnings. Because oftentimes, and that's what I'm saying, we're so quick to not have an attitude of gratitude. And the attitude of gratitude is when you start recapping where you used to be. Yeah, you can go recap Married at First Sight and recap Ready to Love and recap that, but take a moment to recap yourself. Recap your own life and go, what did I do? 2 years ago, I was on benefits. I had no job. My rent was behind 2 months. I had to go sleep on somebody else's couch. I had to go do this. My car was about to get repossessed. When you start having those moments, that's when God begins to be real in your life. And you start saying, God, I thank you. If you do nothing else for me, I thank you. I thank you just for being God in your life. I've experienced a Jehovah Jireh moment in my life. I know that when I didn't have anything, you showed yourself up to be a provider in my life. You are Jehovah Rapha. You are Jehovah Nisi. You are Elohim. You're El Shaddai. When God starts showing you different facets of himself, and it's not that your mama had to tell you, your grandma had to tell you, but when you experience it for yourself, that's when you begin to walk in the very promises of God. And society makes us go after every little goal and be like, but I don't have 100,000. Lateris has this, or so-and-so has 1 million followers, and so-and-so has 1.5, and so-and-so has this. That's their journey. You don't even know. Sometimes They have so much that you perceive as so much, but they can't even sleep at night. That sometimes you can find, and that's why I said, God, only give me so much that I can handle. God said, I will never put more on you than you can bear. What does that mean? That means that God is so concerned about even our mental health, that if the very thing that he blessed us with, that we say we want, and he blesses us with it, if it's causing mental anguish for us, or changing the quality of life where we're not sleeping, we're not spending time with our loved ones, we're not spending time with we're not even enjoying the life that we said we want, then we got to question whether or not it was God. Because success can come from God and it can come from the devil. Money can come from God and money can come from the devil. Everything that we want, you can get a relationship from God or from the devil. But when we submit ourselves to the ways of the Lord, then that's when God blesses us. And he says that when he blesses us, there will be no ill feeling about it, that we know that there's peace around it. And so that's the reason why I said I have no more goals on YouTube anymore, is because in 2 years and 3 months, he's exceeded it. He's already did it. So I'm not going to keep pushing God for whatever he has for me, he's going to have for me. I still have goals in other areas, but it's like, I got that. I got my plaque coming. That's great. And think about YouTube. Let's just break this down. YouTube have a plaque at 100,000, and you don't get another plaque until 1 million. You know how crazy that can be if you chase that in your mind. I got this plaque. I got to get 1 million. I got to get 1 million. That's 10 times as hard to get what you got. 100,000 and then 1 million. That's 10 times as hard. So you think I'm going to play that game in my mind to stress myself out to try to reach that? I like, God, you told me something, God. You said, if you be lifted up, then you will draw all men unto you, not to me, but unto you. So God, I'm just going to try you at your word. If you think my platform needs to be heard by 1 million people, then so be it. If you told me to be a good steward over this 122,000, I don't grow another person, so be it. It was already more than I expected. And when we have that posture with God, that's when God says, you're good ground, I can bless you. And so you have accomplished so much. Give God glory for it. Thank God for it. And what I'm telling you right now, and I'm speaking prophetically over your life, you haven't even scratched the surface of what God is about to do. So all the stuff that you got, and you like, oh, this is great, and this right here, this is wonderful. That's just the beginning. You ain't dead yet. That's just the beginning. So it's so much he's going to do, but it's all contingent upon how much we give God the glory for it. Despise ye not the day of small beginnings. Mm-hmm. Consistency, we talked about that before we got on this live, is that it's consistency. Because I asked you, you had said something about how you built your TikTok up. And I said, I just got the TikTok last month. Well, here it is. Look at this. I just got on TikTok last month. I have 25,000 followers. You have how many, Kojo?
410K.
410,000.
Yeah.
And you got on TikTok when?
Last year, April.
Last year grew that much in a year, in a couple of months.
Yeah. You
can look at that and be like, but I ain't got 1 million, but I ain't got the see, that's that crazy stuff. I'm like, I only got 25,000. I thank God that I dropped a video last week and it's about to hit 1 million views. It's about 3,000 shy of 1 million views on TikTok. But that was God. That's me creating a platform because everybody else was already posting my content on that platform. I will not, when I started my podcast, I said, God, I will not be a slave to my own success. I said, I give that to you, God. I'm not going to be sitting up here worried about this. And if this don't work out, then I lose value because I ain't getting this many views and I ain't getting this and all that. Because that would drive me crazy. I might as well just cut it off because it's affecting my mental health. I said, God, my platform is literally my healing journey. So God, I'm going to submit myself to you. I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to be honest. Those that can receive it, they receive it. Those that don't, they won't. And that's not my congregation. That the congregation that God is bringing to me are people that are like-minded, that are willing and ready to hear truth and accept somebody in transparency, period. Everybody else against it, cool. God bless you. I ain't got no hard feelings for you. God bless you. And God still keeps multiplying. So stay true to yourself. Stay true to whatever God has envisioned in your life to accomplish and continue to give him praise and glory for every facet and every level that he takes you to. I'm done preaching. Send me an offering.
Yeah, we know where. Send that cash out so we can send it to you, bro. I mean, you spoke some real stuff there, bro. And it's just, since we're talking about telling the truth, I think I'm thinking about, as you've been talking, I was just listening. My head was just kind of spinning. And I was just like, I find it so hard to even celebrate any milestone. And that's probably just because of my childhood, but it's such a difficult thing to celebrate. So even when you do achieve these things, I don't dwell on it long. If when we got 10K, I was like, yeah, great, fantastic. All right, move on. 20K, all right, move on. 50K, move on. 6K, move on. 400K on TikTok, move on. Like this, and I cannot physically celebrate these milestones, and I don't know when it would end, because to be honest, I'll get to a million, I'll be like, you can't stay there. You know what I mean? And it's all consuming, like you said. It's just like, you struggle to be able to really celebrate those moments, and
I'm
actually
going to be
take what I'm
transparent
saying.
since we hear
Yes,
this.
sir.
It was hard for me to celebrate milestones because when I was in this toxic situationship back in it ended in 2018, I had a video that went viral on Facebook to the tune of 28 million views. And I had this web series. I was doing random acts of kindness for the homeless community, and a video went viral, 28 million views. And the girl that I was dating, Steve Harvey had shared the video overnight, and it got 1 million views overnight. And I was like, oh my God, my video went viral. She's like, oh, so you like all that attention, don't you? Oh, you blah, 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 blah. Because every time I accomplished something, she would minimize it, and it would break me. And I was like, so then I couldn't celebrate in front of her. So I would minimize it. And then she would call all my other friends, oh gosh, you got 2 million views. Oh my God, now I got 5 million views. And I would celebrate with them. And then when she came around, she'd be like, oh yeah, I see people resharing your video. I bet you like that, don't you? I bet you so. I said, I mean, it's all right. I mean, it ain't making no money or whatever. It's just, there ain't no big deal. So I would literally minimize it out of the verbal abuse that she would bring into my life. This year in January, I said, God reminded me of that. He said, no, you celebrate every doggone thing that happens to you. And you celebrate your friends, and you celebrate people. And so that's what I do now. I celebrate, even if it's something small. Like, I'm going to go treat myself to some crab legs today because I hit such and such. And I will go there and I will go get me this meal that I like. Or, hey, why don't you go ahead? You said you've been looking at this little item. Go ahead and buy that. It ain't nothing but $100. Go get that. Go buy that. Celebrate every little moment in your life and make a marker to define what God did in your life. And you celebrate that moment. When we look at holidays, that's all holidays are moments to where we take a pause and celebrate whatever that is. We just celebrated 4th of July. Of course, that's controversial in the United States, but we celebrated 4th of July about our independence. And so we take a moment and we celebrate, you know what I'm saying? And so do that. I said, I'd be dang if I celebrate holidays I had no control over, but not going to celebrate my own internal holidays that I know what God has done. And so from January, I said, I'm going to celebrate my friends. I'm going to celebrate myself. And even in times, I even go a step further. I call them do-overs. If there was something that I did or something that happened the year before that was a very painful moment, or something that I just lost a loved one on that day or whatnot, or something that even from a relationship standpoint, if a breakup happened on that day or something, whatever it is, the next year I'll call it a do-over, and that year I'll do something to celebrate and bring joy on that day instead of pain.
Love that. And
so, man, I'm telling you, bro, I want to encourage you, celebrate. Whatever that's attached to in your childhood, shake that off, get free from that, and celebrate. Throw yourself a party, doggone it. Buy yourself a cake, get a cupcake, sit in your house, celebrate 400,000 followers on TikTok. Celebrate your YouTube channel doing what it's doing. Celebrate the fact that you were just on. Doggone, I'll celebrate with you. Celebrate that moment, because what you don't know is that I'm literally in talks with the OWN network about my podcast being picked up on their podcast network. So you don't even realize how encouraging that was for me. See what I'm saying? Like we've been in talks since February, where they got my press kit and all that stuff. And then I look up and I'm scrolling. I said, my boy's sitting up here on the OWN. Okay, all right, that's my dude. You know what I'm saying? So I'm celebrating you, and you don't even realize I'm celebrating you. And I just saw that today. And I was like, he was on this. He ain't said nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? Because you minimized it. That's huge. What you minimize is something that I'm looking forward to doing one day. See what I'm saying? And you may look at me and go, you got 100-something thousand followers or subscribers on YouTube. And I'm like, but you was just on the OWN. That's what I really want to be on. And, and you're like, well, but I really want this. It's like, no, celebrate your moments Enjoy what God has for you. What God has for you is for you. Yeah, so let's celebrate, y'all.
Woo!
Tell my boy, congratulations. Dropping the check. Congratulations, Kojo, for all that you've accomplished. Light it up.
Thank you.
Light it up.
Thank you, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you, bro. You know, and that's a real conversation. That's a real conversation that we're having now about maybe even you know, that appreciation. You know, I think, and I'll be honest with you, I think because you're in the field as well, I think it means even more. You know what I mean? Because I know you know the struggle. You know what I mean? I think
100%.
when other people haven't necessarily been in the struggle, I get it. They're congratulating, but it's when someone's been in it and they know what it takes to get to that level, that appreciation hits even more differently. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that, man. Honestly.
And one thing you know about me, Kojo, I don't compete with my friends. I don't compete. We sit here, we congratulate whatever I can do for you.
That's it.
Just like you asked me about, hey, graphic wise, why your graphics look good? So I'll create the graphic for our stuff.
No, the graphics are amazing though, bro.
You know,
the graphics are hard though.
Because that's what it's about. It's like, like this is what you can do to. I be like, hey, whatever I can do to help you, I'm gonna help you, bro. That's just what it is. It's like I love helping to build up my brothers and sisters, you know.
Same,
but it's like I don't have a monopoly on knowledge. I don't have a monopoly on God. So I want to share all of this. So man, like I said, I'm extremely proud of you. So I want you to do something, and I'm gonna ask you tomorrow. I'm like, before we get off, I want you to. Matter of fact, I want you to tell the audience right here. What are you gonna do to celebrate this moment that you have in your life up to this point? You're gonna tell them, we're gonna check in
because you said it so eloquently. You know, me and Cake, yeah, it's a very special, unique relationship we have. Listen, I'm gonna order a cake, guys, because me and Cake, yeah. If you buy me a cake, you got my love, man. Do you know what I mean?
There it is.
Listen, it's me and Cake, boy. That's what it is. A nice little.
So get you a cake, and I want you to post it on your Instagram or something, and say I'm celebrating this, and just make a list of what you celebrate. That's beautiful, bro. That's beautiful. And then what you don't know is that you're encouraging other people. Like when people can read, because we be doing all this stuff and just be, you know, they don't know. You know, they be like, oh, he's going live again. Oh, this is nice. You know what I'm saying? But they don't know how hard it is. We were supposed to go live early this morning. You had a dental appointment, so we had to push it back. So I had to go adjust, and you have to adjust all this stuff just to go and do what we do to provide content in hopes that it's helping people. But how we have to adjust our own lives to provide this content. Times I'm sleeping in my office to edit an episode to get it released the next morning. You know, talk about it, Kojo.
You know, you look at the camera and your eye are doing. Sometimes I'm looking at my eye, I'm like. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take a break for 2 minutes because, bro, my eyes are doing a lot right now. You know what I mean?
Start doing this.
It's not doing. You've been on for too long. You know what I mean? It's too late. Yeah. It's like, ooh. we get. There's a lot of suffering that comes with it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of late nights, bro. There's a lot of early mornings, late nights. Sometimes you don't sleep. Like I said, I mean, when we did our first live, you hadn't slept.
No,
you hadn't slept that day. You hadn't slept, but you know, you honored me by coming on. That's why I really appreciate that. You honored me by coming on that early in the morning, and you hadn't slept. When you told me you hadn't slept, I was looking at you. I said, "Go and sleep." I told you, go and sleep.
I was so tired. I was like, God, I was my mind was. I was like, I hope I'm saying something that makes sense. I'm about to watch this later. I hope I don't say nothing, throw it off. Then I'm reading comments, and then people hating in the comments. I'm like, I ain't got time, y'all. I ain't listening.
Yo, my audience are funny. Listen, they've seen me sleep they've seen me sleep before. But I'll be saying something and I'll be just like, oh my god. Oh guys.
You fall asleep holding candles.
I'll be falling asleep. I'll be falling asleep sometimes doing these lives, bro, at 4 a.m. in the morning. And I'll be like, sometimes I turn off the camera. I'm like, I'm so knackered. I've got to turn the camera off because like, it looks bad. But, you know, these are all part of the growings, you know, the growings of success that we're trying to bring forward. And, you know, God sees all this as well because obviously I love what I do. It's not just I like it. I love what I do. And I think that's why I give God the praise because it's not just I like doing what I'm doing. It's not because I'm making money. I actually genuinely love doing this. So it's like, it's a different ball game when you're able to do this. So when you wake up in the morning, I'm like, what content can we create today? Because I'm ready to create some content. You know what I mean? And it's honestly, it's a blessing from God to be in that position where you can do something that you absolutely love. You know what I mean? So,
100%.
Yeah, it's a lot, you know? This is why men need more of these conversations.
Yes, we edify. Listen, let's ask. I don't want to take over your channel, but they got some questions. Let them ask some questions. Y'all got some questions.
Tell me which ones you go for and I'll click on it. Which
I'm gonna
questions?
sit
Which
fast and
questions are
let's
you
see.
looking at? You tell me a time, and I'll click on a thing.
You have any questions? Drop your questions here. How many people we got on live right now? I can't see it.
210.
Okay, because I just put it on my Facebook and told people to come watch.
Yeah, 210. Any questions? If you guys got any questions, yeah, put them in. Let's talk about.
Or
it,
even comments. Even if you have questions, if y'all find it valuable.
Well, they have questions earlier on.
Huh?
So Tiffany asked this question earlier on. She said, "How much?" This one we were talking about earlier on. We were talking about situationship and sexuationship. She asked this question: how much honesty is too much honesty? And being honest does not make your baby okay. I think it's when we were talking about situationship.
No, it does. So okay is relative. Make your behavior okay is relative. Not saying that it's justifying whatever choice you make. You got to understand that everybody's on a journey, and when you respect that, then you'll know you're giving grace for other people's journey, just like you want grace given to yours. For instance, on my podcast, I talked about in the first season how I wasn't practicing abstinence. Well, I had about 3 judgmental Christians that commented and was like, I can't watch your podcast if you ain't practicing abstinence. I said, okay. And they sent me long emails, and I was like, what does what I do with my body have anything to do with you? First of all. So they left all the little comments. I was like, cool, hate to see you go. God bless you as you leave. It is what it is. But then a few months later in December, I take a vow of abstinence. Those same people end up, they unfollow me. They said, somehow God showed me your video and I'm so proud of you. I'm back and this. If we go look at the Bible and we go look at King David, and if you was rocking with David at one point and then David does something wrong and goes sleep with Bathsheba and get her husband killed in the line of battle, then you like, I ain't dealing with David no more. And then David comes back and does this and leaves the country out of family. Then I'm back with David. You're being wishy-washy. The reality is everybody has a journey. There are no perfect people in the Bible, and it sure ain't no perfect people here on this earth. When you get whole within yourself, you wouldn't be so judgmental when other people are showing you honesty, because that's all we want is honesty.
Yep.
You make a decision whether or not you want to do that or not. If a person is honest, that's all you can ask for. If they say, hey, listen, Tiffany, hey, all I want to do is have sex with you. I don't want a relationship with you or whatever. Thank you for your honesty, but unfortunately, that's not what I'm looking for right now. Okay, well, thank you so much. Nice to meet you. Well, can we be friends? No, I don't even want to be friends. I don't do friends like that, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Done. Or would you prefer a dude lie to you, act like he's really interested in a relationship, just have sex with you, and then break up with you, quote unquote, because he ain't never got with you, but he baits you along as if y'all want a relationship and then kick you to the curb after that? Is that what you want? What you want is honesty. Never penalize somebody for their honesty. You decide whether or not you want that or not. Yep,
I'm hearing you on this, bro. I'm hearing you on this. I'm a person as well. I'm agreeing with what you're saying. So I'm a person that likes to tell the truth because I first of all think like it frees me. Number one.
Yes.
Number two, also it means I'm ahead of you because some of you will out me before I get a chance to out myself. So let me tell the truth, okay?
Yes.
So if I'm in a particular lane, I'm gonna tell you I'm in a particular lane because I don't want to. I don't want anyone to get ahead of myself, and I'm not been able to say it. Do you know what I mean? But I think in all honesty, I think we should all be practicing honesty and to a higher degree, because again, not only does it free yourself, it also frees others to either want to interact with you or not interact with you. You know what I mean? So if you are, and I'll say this bland so that people can understand this. Listen, because some people are not going to like this. I understand. Christians aren't going to like this, and I get it. I do understand. If I'm a Christian, but I'm out here sexing everywhere, better to be honest and tell the people that I'm doing this with than to lie and pretend and fall in and say you fell into it. Because what happens is that's how people get sexual diseases. That's how people get pregnant. That's how you're now at the front of your church being disbarred, suspended from your worship team. Like, that's how these things happen, because what people are not doing is really being honest. Look, let's be frank, right? I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that it's better to be honest than to lie, because the moment you start lying to yourself, it's the moment that real madness really starts happening, and you're no longer in control. You're now just kind of moving with it. Whatever happens will come my way, in a sense. again, it doesn't make the behavior right. We know what's right and we know what's wrong. You know what I mean? The same reason, the same way we know our relationship with God. We know what God has said to you personally. You know what's right.
Yep.
You know what's wrong. Everybody knows that. But I would rather you live in your honesty than try to pretend and lie. And I think when you do that, you kind of cause so much more damage to people, because that's how you end up in a situation where I just wanted to have Bible study and you didn't want to have Bible study, and then you and a girl now fornicating. Right now, she's feeling bad because she felt like she fell. You're feeling bad because you felt like you fell, and she's like, "Well, you know what? You said you wanted Bible study." No. At least if you know I'm a wolf when I come over there, there's none of this whole, "Oh, I didn't know I fell it." No, there's none of that. You know what I mean? You know exactly what you're on. You don't have to lie to nobody. Whether it's right or wrong is a completely different story. But the honesty saves people from being in really poor situations where something even more worse. Now, I really believe that, listen, fornication is one thing, but when you guys have a kid and you're not wanting it, that's an even more dire situation. That's generational effect, you know, that you're causing. So, you know, I'd rather you be honest in those moments. If that's what you're on, that's what you're on. If you're not on it, then fantastic. We are not on it. But I'm trying to let everybody be, if you're honest about it, then it means that people can know exactly where they stand with you, and you don't have to pretend and be like, oh my God, like now, you know, and listen, like you were saying, Latoris as well earlier on, it's powerful when you hear a woman say either she's on it or she's not. And in fact, I love it when a girl tells me, listen, that's not what I'm on relationship. Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah, go on. It's not me, but go on. Go on. Go on. You know what I mean? Go on. Be empowered to do what you did, because like boundaries are such a powerful thing. You know, when you put up your boundaries of what you're expecting, what your standards are, people respect it. Honestly, people do respect it, and this is why you hear. And this is very similar to when you're a Christian and you hear other people who are not Christians. He said, "I just wish I could be a Christian. I wish I could have the faith that you have. I wish I could have, the faith that you had. I wish I could do it." And you look at them going, "You could." But like, no, I just don't have the. It's not for me. But it's like they wish they could have that standard. And that's what, and you were saying the same thing to me. It's like we wish we could be with that standard that someone's having. We wish you could also have it. So hold your standard. If your truth is this going right, let that be your truth. If truth is going left, let your truth be that, because it just kind of saves everybody the madness and people feeling like they're being deceived and being lied to and stuff like that. It just stops all that mayhem. You know what I mean? A lot of that mayhem. Yeah. Okay, so this is another question. Someone said earlier on, why do men not believe in being pure and treating their bodies like temples?
Don't talk about that. I'll say this real quick. First of all, we're not taught that. We're going to start back on teaching. We're not taught that. Even in the church, we're not taught that. If you go look back at it, we're not taught what women are taught. As little girls, they're taught to be pure. They have purity classes for girls. They do all that. They have these little pinky rings and promise rings and all. Men don't have that. We're not taught that at all. The culture doesn't teach us that. A lot of fathers don't teach us that. If our fathers aren't even present in our home, in our life, how do you expect to learn that from another man? It's just that we just don't get taught it. And it's something that I even mentioned in 2020. I was writing a letter to my future wifey on the episode I took about abstinence, and I said, wow, I said, God, you are worth the wait. I said, future wife, you're worth the wait. And I finally believe that I am worth the wait. I never thought that. And here it is. I'm 40. At that time I wrote that, I was 42 years old. And I finally felt like my body was worth something. Never was. Even communicating that. Men don't ever say, you know what, man, I want to save myself for the right woman. Men don't say that. They just don't say it. They don't even think it. They be like, even when a man gets married, his best friends, his groomsmen, his best man be like, man, all right, man, you out these streets now, more for us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, they're not saying, you know what, I can't wait to find that loving wife like you found, and I can settle down and have wedded bliss like you. They like, shoot, more for me now, bro. It's like, it's that's just what it is. So the culture has to change and has to shift to even have conversations where men don't even look at themselves as no temple. Let's go from there. So when you start talking about this is Christianese, this is Christian words that we say our temple, and our body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, and we should not defile it and all that stuff. But the reality is, The average man does not think like that, does not believe like that. Matter of fact, it's in the opposite, that if a man isn't, and I've heard women say this, we're going to keep it all the way lit. I talk to women and I ask them, women that are abstinent, a woman that is a virgin, I ask them, would you marry a virgin man that's 40? And when I tell you, every last one of them said no. I said, hold on, this don't make sense. You wouldn't marry a virgin guy that's like, oh, nah, I need a man at least know what he's doing. I said, but you a virgin. Why would you care? They said, we both can't be confused. I said,
smart woman. She said she's planning for the future.
Kojo. So but that's what I'm saying. So you hear these women say that. Hold on, in the chat. Let me ask y'all. Would y'all marry a virgin man? I want to hear y'all comment. Would you marry a virgin man? Would you marry a virgin man?
I'm gonna put that across the screen. I'm gonna put that across the screen. I'm gonna put that across the screen.
Would you marry a virgin man?
Let's put that across the screen. Okay.
Women be talking about they want a man to honor their temples, but y'all be looking at them crazy when they virgin.
Oh, got a few answers here.
Yes, I would. Somebody said H now.
Yes, no. Jacqueline said hell nah.
Becca said she married one twice.
Wow.
She married a virgin guy twice? Or two different guys?
The third one, you got to marry someone who's not then. That's the pattern.
She said if we cuddle, I know he's working with. Link said Cat.
D said rather not, and I respect that. Because me, Leaf, I wouldn't want to marry ever. This is a real conversation that keeps coming up. Would somebody want to marry somebody who's a virgin? This is a real conversation. You know what I mean?
Yes, he'd have to have some awesome qualities. Well, he got to have some awesome qualities.
She said you got to cover because.
He said you got to have some awesome qualities if he a virgin. That's up. No, yes, no, I don't know. Yes, and pray he serves as if he is not intimately. Yes, because we can learn together. I need my man well seasoned. Put that up there, Jacqueline.
Jacqueline is having a ranch over there, guys. She's like, I know my man seasoned.
Nah, I'm too late in the game. She said, nah, she's too late in the game.
Just because you have sex doesn't mean you're good at it. This is very true. Yeah.
Yes, if y'all got married young, that makes sense. So like Rocky Ann said, I married a virgin and we've been married for 29 years. Yes.
I love that.
If y'all got married at a young age and y'all got married at 18, 19, y'all young, then that makes all the sense in the world. Yep. I'm really specific talking about people. I don't know what y'all age
25 to 30 plus.
35 years old
and
40. Would you marry a 35, 40-year-old virgin?
I think we'd all be asking the question.
I'm 59. A virgin after 50? She got a thought. Paula man? Paula man, would you marry a 50-year-old virgin? 59-year-old virgin? He honored God. He been waiting. He been waiting for you, Paula. He said, I'm going to wait. And the Lord showed me Paula in the distance. And he saved himself. He's 59 years old. And he meets you. And you 59. He said, I've been saving myself for you. Would you not be looking at him sideways? Mm-hmm. I know a 50-year-old man who is very handsome. He is a virgin. I admit I was like thrown off. Exactly, Mika. You was like, this guy probably don't like women. That's how he was been a virgin for so long. Or he may be asexual. He may be, you automatically assume that something was wrong. Yes. Like, what'd you do?
Said,
yeah, I'm calling out. 50-year-old man is very handsome. You're thrown off. Mika, why was you thrown off? Why was you thrown off about it? Because it just sounded wrong. It just sounded abnormal. It sounded like, what is going on? Yeah. But you assume that, Lynx, you said that we already know what men will answer. A lot of men wouldn't even want to marry a virgin. Yeah, some of them would, but a lot of them will feel like it's too much of a responsibility emotionally to deal with.
There we go.
That's what they say.
That's the answer, sir. That's the answer.
Yep.
It is way too much. I said this to my audience. I said, like, that myth died when we were probably like 15, 16. Yeah? When they were all talking about, man, want a pure virgin and them thing. When you got older, you realize I'm not about that life. I'm so sorry, but I'm not here to teach. Once you've gone dark, it's very hard to want to go. You know what I mean? So yeah,
It's
the
real.
responsibility is a key word that you mentioned there. The responsibility, because that emotional attachment becomes so strong that navigating that space for a lot of us as men, I think it becomes very difficult for us to want
Very
to
good.
to want to now experience that. So yeah, yeah, that thing died with us, a lot of us, when we were 15, 16. As we got older, once you start getting experience in that area of field, it's not really, you know, and that's why I said, I even find it, if a man tells me he's super experienced and says, I want a pure virgin, I'm saying to you guys, I said to ladies, be careful of that guy, because he's probably looking at you as somebody to help him cleanse his sins off. Listen, he's got nothing to do with you being a virgin, like, because yeah, he's wanting a virgin. What for? Because what? Be careful of this guy. Be careful of that guy. Yeah, be careful of him. Yeah,
You hit the nail on the head. You said to cleanse his sins off. That's yeah.
it's
That's
dangerous.
pretty deep. Because like even with me, I was like, it was an episode I did with Terry Igioma. It's called $40 Million Virgin.
Wow.
She's a very successful woman. She $40 million strong. And she asked me on the episode, she's like, would you marry a virgin? I said, ah. Now for me, it went to the reason why I initially declined it is because it goes against my feeling of unworthiness. I felt like I would be unworthy to marry a virgin. I'd be like, she'll be better suited with a guy that kept that same energy. I just felt better suited for that. Felt that she would be better suited for that. But again, that was attached to my unworthiness. But if God saw fit for that to be whatever it is, then it is what it is. But it wouldn't be my initial preference. This initiative. Yeah.
And I think, and honest, and again, because again, once you've eaten that fruit, like Adam and Eve, it's very hard to unsee what you've seen and to unfeel what you felt. Do you know what I mean? And the deeper you go, the more it's harder to turn back and to say that. You know what I mean? I think when you said about responsibility, I think that was a key aspect as well, because a lot of things, you know, if we're talking about virgin, not even just virgin in terms of even just virgin, okay, sexuality, but sometimes people are even virgins when it comes to even relationships too.
Yes.
So it's like now having to teach you stuff about relationships. That is a huge responsibility on my end, yeah. And you're gonna see life completely different to me. I remember I was talking to one girl, and she was a virgin, and she was also a virgin in terms of relationships, and she was so green. I was shocked. And I'm talking about green, where she trusted everything that anybody said. I was looking at her like, you trusted what he just agreed. You didn't. And I'm like, and I said, I can't do this. I can't. No, because I feel like the bad person trying to tell you there are dangers of wolves in different areas every single time. It's like, what? Every place is a wolf. Yes, every place is a wolf. That's the whole point. We live in a life where there's wolves around, and it's like you don't realize that is a effort in itself to now. And almost, I think I feel bad because. I feel like I'm having to darken your viewpoint now on life, your life, because I see as life has been a little bit darker now because of what I've experienced and what I've seen. I'm like, I don't want to remove your rainbows and clouds for you. Okay, I don't want to be that person that creates it to be dark, and I don't know how you're going to react when you finally go dark and realize the world is dark. How are you going to react? I don't know. We don't have that prior experience for that, so we don't know how you're going to react. I think that's also another thing as well. You know, I don't know how you're going to react when you suddenly discover the world isn't as rainbows and clouds and pretty as it always is. What's going to happen? You know what I mean?
That's real. That's real. See if they got any more questions. They don't start their own little conversation.
They got more, sir. They got more. I've been touting them. This question here was, how can you know a man is genuine and not love bombing you when he's full of praise, etc.?
How can you know a man is genuine? I think you'll find that over a period of time, and time doesn't mean years, but you can find that out over a period of time. Because I don't want you being suspect that a guy compliments you and you see. We've been so inundated with this word narcissism that we just call everything narcissistic traits or whatever. Oh, he's full of himself. He's a narcissist. He's love bombing me because he gave me a lot of compliments. He's a narcissist. He went and bought me something. He's a narcissist. It's like narcissist is a very distinct personality disorder that is a person who lacks empathy. And so we think some of the traits of narcissism is, love bombing, this type of stuff. But the innate thing that a narcissist is, they're very insecure and they lack empathy. So they can literally hurt you and feel no remorse about it. They just don't have that thing inside of them that makes them empathetic towards people. So I would say that that's something you'll find over a period of time. If somebody praises you and adores you and whatnot, it could be interesting because he could have been that type of guy prior to that. He never gave praise to his woman or significant other, people at all. And you may be the person that he says, I'm going to try to do this better because in the past I failed in this area. So I'm going to overdo it because I want to fix this propensity I had not to share praise in someone I love. But you'll find that over a period of time, whether or not it's genuine or not.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think, I always say this, the equation is actions and words should match.
100%.
When you start seeing those equations begin to balance very well, you've got somebody who's a reliable person. If that person has a top heavy fraction, okay, in the equation, lots of compliments but little to no action, you got a problem. You know what I mean? Like, that person it's probably not the best person for you as well. And I honestly think as well, there are also going to be other aspects that are going to come out as well. So there are also little things that potentially start to leak, not only just love bombing, but there are other aspects of that person's behavior that begins to leak if they're not really down for you. And this is why when people have relationships and they realize at the end that, this person wasn't the right person for me, they start going back and they go, that, because you're ignoring some of these signs. When you see the signs, address it. You know what I mean? Like if address it, you know what I mean? Share your feelings, share your thoughts. If you feel like the person's doing too much in terms of the flattery, you don't have to cuss them. You just have to listen. Look, hey, I think for me, it's a bit much. The flattery. I'd appreciate if you just maybe turn it down a little bit, and you say it in a loving, kind manner. If that person then decides to go and do even more, then what you're kind of dealing with. Again, it goes back to our original conversation. Don't be afraid to speak up, but learn how to deliver a message. Some of you are going in here like Old Testament prophets, and what do you expect when your head gets chopped off? Some of you are coming out like it's Jeremiah. Like you honestly deliver messages with such harsh critique. What do you think is going to happen? You know what I mean? So learn how to deliver a message appropriately. You know what I mean?
Old Testament prophet.
Just delivering it anyhow. Do you know what I mean? The Lord says. It's like, bro, like you're just so deadly with your message. Learn how to tamper the message so it's delivered in the right manner so that the person can also receive that message as well. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think that's also a really important thing, Old Testament prophets out here delivering messages. It's crazy, bro. Before you know it, you're dead tomorrow. Let's have another question. Jessica Grant says, you are in a relationship, you're being seen with that person, but they won't post you and carry themselves as single and boast as if they're single. What's you guys' thoughts on that? Oh my days. LL. Talk to them, sir.
I would want to know, what have you said to them prior to you feeling the way you feel? Meaning, I believe that conversation should be had whether or not someone believes in posting that person if they're dating them and all that type of stuff. Because I said, because of the platform that I have, I'm not going to post whoever I get with. People just going to see the engagement. Like, I'm going to drop a freaking engagement video and photo. Ain't going to be as strong as Issa Rae was. Issa Rae dropped the freaking wedding picture. Nobody knew that she was dating anybody. And even in the post, she didn't even say that she was even married. She said, oh, so I just did this shoot and I found somebody's son and I did this. And guess what? My homegirl showed up in the same dresses and we dressed alike. And so we shot. While I was reading this and I said, dang, is this a photo shoot that she did or a brand deal with a wedding thing? It threw me off. And then I finally called her and was like, wow. In Issa Rae fashion, that's how she announced that she's married. But she had let nobody know that. And you don't have to be a celebrity to operate in privacy. It's a difference between privacy and secrecy. If you feel like you're a secret, that's a different. If you feel like he's been private, then that can be respected. But when you say he acts like he's single, then I would want you to unpack that to say, how's he acting like that? If y'all are out in public, if you try to hold his hand, does he not want you to hold his hand? Is he always walking in front of you or walking behind you? How is he moving in your relationship and operating as single? And then what you need to do is have a whole conversation with him about it and say, hey, listen, again, be honest. These are my needs. Hey, I feel loved when I'm with somebody who actually acknowledges me. I feel loved when I'm this. When you're, I would love for you to post a picture. We've been together for 2 years. Can you at least on Valentine's Day or my birthday, can you post a picture to say we're together? Now, I don't want people in my business like that. Why? Tell me why you feel like that. And ask the question, not angry, like, so why you feel like that? Be like, so tell me why you feel like that. Well, this last relationship I got into, man, I was posting her everywhere. I was posting pictures. I was tagging this and all this, and then people started sliding the DMs. They started lying to her about this, and then we found ourselves arguing over social media too much, and it was nothing going on in our relationship, but we arguing about whether or not I liked her post and whether or not this. You go, oh wow, oh yeah, I can understand how that would bother you and affect you or whatever. Well, can we try to find a happy medium? Because I want to make sure that I'm feeling validated in this relationship. So what about if you don't do it all the time, but can you acknowledge me on my birthday, on Valentine's Day, if we're together on a family reunion? Can you post that? Or maybe in your stories, maybe not even on your post. Can you even post in the story when we're doing this or whatnot? Can you share my story that I posted with you in the picture? All right, yeah, that makes sense. I can do that. And then it came healthy, not accusatory and with a bunch of venom, and just create a safe space to have those conversations and find out. And if you begin to ask the question, you can find out whether it's attached to some trauma or something that happened in the past, or he just don't want to acknowledge you. And if he just don't want to acknowledge you and he ain't feeling you like that, then you had a healthy conversation for you to make an informed decision and say, oh, he'd be like, no, I don't want, and then you'd be like, you know what? Is this serving you well in this relationship? And if it's not serving you, then you got a decision to make.
I also think as well, that the mouth speaks what the heart feels. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, I the audience have been with me for a long time, so they know when I was dating somebody, I didn't post them up. But when I was doing commentary, you'll hear bits and parts that come out, like, oh, I was talking to my girlfriend the other day and we were talking about this, So it will come up. You know what I'm saying? I'll mention that person, or, at least the person comes up in conversation. The difference between private and secret is nobody knows. That's the whole point. In secret, nobody knows. Nobody knows their partner. Not their mom, not their dad, not their brother, not their sister, not their friends. You haven't met nobody. You know what I'm saying? You ain't met nobody. That's a completely different situation. You know what I mean? Like, that if you don't come up in any conversations, friends don't see you. Family doesn't see you. You don't know the other half of what he's bringing to the table in terms of family and relationships and friendships. My friend, then, yeah, you are the secret, because the difference between private and secret is online doesn't need to show everything. We never had online before. Online is a very new phenomenon. Okay, all right, very new phenomenon. Okay, all right. Just look back to Abraham. Did he have Facebook to tell he was in a relationship status? Did he have to say that he was with Hagar and with another wife as well at the same time? He didn't have to say that. You know what I'm saying? You don't need to announce it. You know what I mean? You don't need to announce it. But it's not a secret. The secret is if nobody really knows who you are. And the thing is, I think also the beautiful thing is, as human beings, intuition is a beautiful thing. In amongst this question you've asked, you said, but carry themselves as single and boast as if they're single. You already know what you are. You already know. you already know. You already know what position you're playing, right? Because you're not feeling validated, you're not feeling seen. I think you already know. You know what I mean? So that's up to you now to have that conversation in terms of what's going to be enough to make you feel validated, what's going to be enough for you to be seen, what's going to be enough for you to feel like they're not playing single. And also as well, there's a key question I always tell people to ask, which helps to establish empathy. Why? Because if you can understand why he does what he does or why she does what she does, then empathy can begin to flood in. Without the why, without you understanding why they do what they do, there'll be no reason for you to have empathy, which is what you were saying earlier on about the understanding piece. I need to be able to understand where you're coming from. Maybe he has been scarred. Maybe there's some trigger in there, some trauma there, in the past. Maybe he has posted somebody, it hasn't really worked out. But I'll be very honest with you. Hiding it from your whole entire family, again, you might want to ask, maybe his family's crazy. Maybe his family's crazy, and that's why he doesn't want to bring you to the family. But ask the why. You know what I'm saying? Ask
Yeah.
the why. That's the honest truth, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Whoo, Chile. Okay. This is what you said you wanted to open the door to questions. Now look what you're getting. Question, it says, what would he guess the percentage of men that are faithful are most of his friends or men he known to be unfaithful? Oh boy.
I don't know.
Oh man. Percentage wise, I couldn't give you a percentage, but
Yeah, I can't give a percentage. I'm really trying to answer that. Because I've never just polled my friends and said, have you been faithful? Have you been faithful?
yeah.
Have you been faithful? Have you been faithful when you got married? Were you faithful when you was in the dating relationship? When you were in a dating relationship, you was unfaithful, but with marriage, were you unfaithful? What do you call unfaithful? Did you just kiss one other woman? I've never polled that, so I don't know how to answer that question. I don't want to just lie to you.
To be fair,
Yeah.
any of my guys that are married, so far so good. They are all faithful at this point in time. At this point in time, at this current point of this question, the boys that I know that are married, they are all faithful at this current point in time.
Because I'm gonna tell you why this is. Let me tell you why this is important. Is because none of my friends knew when I was unfaithful. They never ever knew. And when I got a divorce, they were like, "What? What'd you get a divorce for?" I never even talked to them about when I was unfaithful.
That's fair.
So that's the reason why I say I don't even ask that. I never asked my homeboy like, "So what's up? You cheating on your wife?" Like I just.
I saw you at the IHOP last week.
Yeah, I saw you with this girl. Who is that? You know what I'm saying? So we ain't had those questions, so it's just.
That's very true. That's very true.
Question
is why?
At this point in time.
Yeah, why is it so hard for men to communicate?
I think that's just how God created us. He didn't create us to be very to be communicators. You know, we're more so doers. You know, anytime you hear something like a man is out in the field working, we're out doing something, we're just doing. And truthfully speaking, we do communicate, because most men ain't gonna communicate with women. You know, men don't ever complain about their homeboy not communicating to them. Like I've never said, I wish my friend would communicate with me more. Have you had that problem before, Kojo? Have your friends not communicated with you? But I'm saying we never have that problem with each other. We never say, yeah, he just don't communicate as much as I would like for him to do. We just don't have that. It's women that have a problem with men not communicating with them. And the answer to that is because for whatever reason, he may feel judged. He may not feel like it's safe to communicate. And I'm going to tell you, and I bring this up, is that even in the last live that I did with Kojo, if I wasn't a man built the way I would never do another live with him on his platform because of how when I communicated truth, how it wasn't a safe space to provide, to share that with. It's just that I'm already built for this. That's why it's hard to get men to even come on platforms like this to talk, because women get triggered by just the truth. It's not even a justification. It's just the honest admittance of what the person did, and y'all will pounce on them. So I could look in a lot of the comments and be like, I wouldn't date that type of woman. I wouldn't date that woman. I wouldn't date that woman. Because if somebody else's business triggers you and makes you respond in hate, then certainly if that business became yours because it's your man, then I could venture to say that you definitely not going to provide a safe space for him if that's your man. Because if you over here judging somebody you ain't even met, then you sure ain't going to be well with somebody that's your boo that has a loyalty to you, supposedly. So I always say that it's hard to communicate with people who don't provide a safe space. And it has to be built, because he may have tried to do that before, and then a woman used that as a weapon against him. He said, I ain't gonna never open my heart up again to nobody. I ain't never telling no woman this. I ain't never. He starts making those vows that I'm never going to do this again. And the women do the same thing as well. Because I have a lot of female friends that say, I told a man one day, he asked me how many men I slept with. I told him, and he used it against me every conversation I had. So it goes both ways. But people don't communicate because they don't feel like they can trust the person they're communicating with. That's the number one thing. Take it back from you as a child. Why wouldn't you communicate with your mama every time you did something wrong? You know, because you was like, man, I'm gonna get a whooping. You automatically thought of the consequences when communicating, and you weighed that and said, it's not worth me being honest because a consequence may be that I'm gonna get my behind whooped, or I'm gonna get grounded, I'm gonna get whatever the consequence is, so you don't communicate. And the same as it is with anybody. You know, people is highly unlikely, or people have a propensity not to tell the truth out of fear of the consequence.
Yeah, and that's 100% what it is. So I think
Evan said not that safe word.
yeah, I think I honestly,
Evan, I'm sorry. We're gonna find another word. We're gonna say safe.
They don't like a safe word.
But
no, I mean,
healthy.
It's a communicate. First and foremost, men and women always communicate. That we don't fail to communicate. We fail to understand and decipher. That's completely different. So everybody communicates, whether they talk verbally or non-verbally. The question is whether the message is understood. It's almost like how we talk about God. God is always talking, but how do we hear what God is saying? Yeah. And I think that's the same thing with men and women as well, because you mentioned a really important dynamic, and it got me really thinking that when I talk to my boys, the main reason why I can talk to my boys about certain issues, which can be even dark, is because it's a no judgment zone. He's not about to judge me, okay? Whereas I know that if I tell this to someone else, I might get judgment. And I think that judgment piece can be make it very difficult for people to express their true selves. And I think you were saying this earlier on, I wanted to come to this, but it's a beautiful segue now. It's come to this moment now. You said earlier on, there's a reason why people can tell you stuff about what they're going through. Whether it's they were cheated, whether they were moving mad, whether they were angry, whether they were sad, whether they were having some kind of craziness happening, they can come to you and tell you because you offer a no judgment zone.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that is one of the biggest things in order for men and women to communicate very effectively. Number two, if we're talking about communication, there are aspects where it comes to the way that we communicate, sometimes being able to process certain information. So for instance, if we're talking about an emotional piece of information, right, it's hard sometimes to find the language to be able to communicate to that person exactly what you're saying. It's almost as if we're talking French and I'm speaking English. I'm still communicating. I'm just talking another language. And sometimes when we're dealing with situations that affect both of us, you want an answer in a particular way that you're going to understand. And it's very difficult sometimes because the way I'm communicating isn't the way that you want to hear the answer, because that's not how you understand things. So it takes both parties to jostle with the information a little bit. And that's why we ask... that's why, you know, sometimes you ask clarifying questions, which is, look, I heard you say this, but this is what I'm hearing. And this is what it means for me. Is this what you're saying? And this is where people often fail in the communication, because you'll hear us men say something. Let's say, for instance, you say you wanted me to come to the anniversary dinner and I'm late by 5 minutes. I said to you, I had work and work was moving mad, okay? And work was keeping behind. I told boss, but boss said, you got to stay. I come and tell you that. But what you're hearing is, I don't care enough. So that's why you're 5 and 10 minutes late. That's what you're hearing. But what you should be doing is asking me, okay, to break it down as to what do I really mean by that? Because what you're hearing is, I'm not prioritizing you well. So you got to let me know, look, what I'm hearing is that it feels like I'm not a priority. Then I can respond to that. Then I can actually respond to that, because was what you're responding to is you're projecting something onto me, then responding and assuming that that's what I said. And that's not necessarily what I said. What I said was, I was late because work boss man kept me extra few minutes behind. But you're hearing, that's not my priority. So we're hearing two different things. Not that you're mad, not that I'm mad, but we're hearing two different things. And therefore, we need to come to that middle ground and get to that concluding bit. What are you hearing so that I can address it? And what am I saying? And what am I hearing so I can also address it as well? And that is where the communication gets understanding from. So everybody's communicating. It's just, are you understanding? You know what I mean?
Are you understanding?
Are you understanding? Yeah, me. Last few questions, because we've got 5 minutes left, guys. 5 minutes left. So if you've got any more questions, guys, let us know. We've got 5 more minutes. But in regards to communication, Lataris, obviously you've been doing Dear Wifey for quite a long time now. What would you say some of the kind of things that you've heard in terms of the difficulties between men and women communicating, you know? What's kind of things, stories you've kind of heard?
What we discussed today about just the fact of men not being upfront with what they desire and what they want, whether they want a serious relationship whether they want just sex, whether they want marriage, whether they want whatever it is that men desire, they're not communicating it. And then from the other side, men just say that women are some of the main issues outside of communication is the whole feminine and masculine energy conversation that men complain about with women, saying that women just aren't as feminine as they used to be, and they have too much masculine energy where they're wanting to control too much and dominate too much and all that stuff. So yeah, that's the main thing with what comes around with communication. Then when we talk about marriages, I get a lot of married couples that come on my podcast, and they just complain about they just don't have those conversations. And all of them say that they wish that this platform was around before they got married, because the way that we're talking on Dear Future Wifey is very abnormal than what we're used to hearing in the church, what we're hearing outside the church, even in secular platforms. You don't really hear, like on TV shows, people sitting there talking uninterrupted for an hour. You know what I'm saying? And so it's just different to just hear people talk, and you can listen to. And the good thing about the podcast is we're not trying to fix anybody. We're just allowing people to share their truths. Just like me, I don't try to tell people what to do. I just say, here's my story. Take the fish, spit out the bones. Whatever it is that you can take away from the story, take it, grow. What you don't agree with, take it out. It's my story. It's my story. So it is what it is. And so it's just about having healthy communication. And that's what people seem to appreciate most, is that they're like, wow, y'all having a real grown up conversation. That's why I saw some comments early on in this conversation we had. It's like, wow, I like this. Y'all just talking like brothers. And that's what it should be. It shouldn't always be some battle of the sexes and men against women and women are this and men are that and everybody's at their head, instead of saying, let's try listening more. Prime example, when I did the podcast, I told God, as I do this podcast, I want to become a better listener, because before I got married or throughout relationships, period, people always would say, you don't listen. And I was like, I could deflect and get mad. Like, I do listen. Now, how you going to tell somebody that if they feel like they're not being listened to, then it's dumb for you to say, I do listen, and without asking them why. Why don't you feel like I'm listening to you? Why just don't feel like you're blah, blah, blah. You're doing X, Y, Z while I'm talking. Oh, well, let me tell you what you just said. Oh, well, I didn't know you were actually hearing me or whatever. There's a difference between hearing and listening. So the reality was, when I did the podcast, I said, I want to become a better listener. I don't have notes when I'm doing the podcast. I sit down and I literally have to be engaged with my guests, because if I'm not engaged with them, the interview will fall flat, because I don't know what the next question I ask, because I wasn't listening. Yeah. So I knew that I was being effective in the secret prayer that I asked God when I started reading comments where people said, oh my God, Latarius, you're such a great listener. Your questions are so amazing. You have such great questions. That's because I literally am invested and I care about my guests, and I'm just sitting there listening to them. And when listening to them, they'll give me the lifeline of the next question, because I go, wow. So when you did that, what made you decide to do that? Oh, I did that because such. Oh, well, you said you did that because of that. How did that make you feel when you blah, 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 blah? And we'll start unpacking all this stuff in that episode. And then the hour has gone by, and I'll be like, well, thank you for coming on Dear Future Wifey podcast. But I want to make sure that I can keep that same energy in my personal relationships, whether it's just friends, romantic, or platonic, to have those conversations where I'm fully engaged with people, because I have a propensity to, while you're talking to me, I'm doing something else, because I'm always multitasking. I may be on the phone and I'm editing the video while I'm talking. Oh yeah, I hear you. Thank you. Now I'm not really yeah. So I'm not fully listening. I'm just hearing them. I'm hearing them talking. I'm hearing the voice, but I'm not truly listening to them. And so this podcast is literally my personal journey. I want to become better in areas where I'm deficient. And so And listening was something that I had to fix over this period of time. And I thank God that I've been able to become a better listener and not just communicate.
Love that. On that note,
Damn, this stuff with this adult dating sites though.
I know I had to just block it, man. You know what? I haven't had one of those for such a long time, and they come up now. But listen, audience members, this has been a really good, healthy conversation. Actually, it's inspired me because I've been reading a book, for the past week, and I think I'll release some of the notes to you guys. Actually, I'm gonna go on live after this, and I'll give you guys another half an hour just to kind of break down about communication and how to handle conflict. Because I think it's a really, really good book as well. But Notorious, thank you so much again for coming on here and honoring the call again. We will be having you in a few weeks' time. You have to come back again. Come and give us.
I need to get you on my channel, Kojo.
Yeah, listen, I'm ready for the invite, sir. I'm ready for the big leagues.
I want you on the plane.
You're on the plane. Do you know what? I'm trying to organize to come in October. I really am trying to organize.
Well, do that. But what city are you going to?
I was trying to hit potentially Atlanta, DC, and then NY in it. So
whatever city you go to, let me know in advance, and I'll buy your flight to come to Dallas from wherever you are.
Wow. Oh,
but not from London though. I ain't gonna pay for no flight from London.
But to it's more expensive to buy from your area.
No, it's not.
More expensive the internal flights seem to be maybe from my area when I'm looking at it seems to be more expensive.
So okay, how much is the flight from London to wherever you?
When I was looking at it. From here to Atlanta, it was like 600 quid.
It was only 600?
It was only 600 in October time. When I'm looking at internal flights, look at that 800 quid. I'm like, why is that so expensive?
No, that's crazy because I'm flying. I got guests coming in all the time from Atlanta, and the flights be like 300, maybe 4 if it's not within 21 days. But yeah, it's.
We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it done. Don't worry about it.
I got this cool guest. I got this couple that's coming on this month that she cheated in a relationship, and
not the TikTok one, is it?
Yes,
it's a TikTok one.
What's her name? Her name is Raven.
I think so. Yeah, the one that she does, and it's gone viral because she did a little dance and said obviously marriage not ending because I've cheated or whatever.
She's coming on. Her and her husband coming on my podcast this month.
Wow. Okay, that's gonna be interesting. I'm definitely tuning for that because even me, I felt some type of way. I ain't gonna lie to you. My my double standards kicked in. My little bit of misogyny that hasn't gone yet. It's still there. It was flaring up when she did the little dance. I said, "How dare she?" So I can't wait for that, Captain. I'm gonna be there glued.
It's just crazy. She was saying, she's like, "No, I was dancing because I'm happy what God did to restore our marriage." But anytime you attach that. See, that's a crazy thing about it because it's what happened with me on Breeny's episode. When you attach a joy with something that's painful like that, then the people that's outside of it are triggered. But her husband wasn't triggered. That's what's so crazy about it. I'd be like, is she married to you, Kojo? Why are you mad? You know what I'm saying? But we get all mad. Like, her husband fine. But why are you mad? And so it's the same thing that what happened with me is that I'm so far removed from that. I'm not sad about that no more. I've seen what God has been able to do with me that I can't be sad about that no more. I go, wow, all things work together for the good of them that love God. Like God took my deepest pain. Now, if you talk to me during that moment back then I was in a dark place. I'm not in that dark place no more. So I can walk in freedom. And that's the reason why I want to talk to her is because I said, I'm so proud of your transparency because a lot of people were criticizing her about being honest. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, that's refreshing because I know a lot of women who were married that cheated on their spouses. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of them personally. I know some that are married that still cheat on their spouse. But women are better cheaters. You're just not going to know about it. And so all that stuff. So I was just so happy when she actually talked about it and shared it or whatever, and just seeing what God is doing in their marriage to bring light to that darkness that she's been through so that we can have some healthy conversations around it. So go and do a reaction video of that because I know you're going to try to chop it up and dissect it when she come up.
That's why I need you to do the business, sir, so I can get this. I need to chop it up because
I'm gonna send you the actual file and let you go.
Yeah, because that one is deep here, bro. I felt that one in the spirit when she did that. still triggered from years. I said, how dare she twist and turn like that. So I'm looking forward to that. That's some great content that's coming. So yeah,
we're talking about her name is Raven.
It's Raven, yeah.
Raven.
I remember I had
Instagram, TikTok.
on TikTok. She went viral on TikTok for it. But it's funny because she did a video. She did a video originally a couple of months or even a year beforehand, and I think it kind of went somewhere. Somewhere, but then I think this year it blew up even more because the first time it went a little bit.
So her Instagram is Raven Thomas Hartwell. But Raven Thomas Hartwell.
Yeah, that's the one. Because her video originally went slightly viral the first time, and then I think she did a second follow-up video, and I think then that triggered the first one again to blow up even more. Yes. And I think went on to Shade Room and everything like that. And stuff. I ain't gonna lie to you. I think it was Shade Room. That's when I saw it again. I said, "Oh, this is back." Because I was here looking. You know me. I look at the body language. I was looking at the brother like, and look at his eyes.
blink if you can hear me.
Blink if you need help, bro. You alive? You okay? Don't worry, we'll pray for you, sir. Like, you know what I mean? I was looking for that. So yeah.
But women always ask that. They say, "Can a man stay if a woman cheats on him?" And that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about seeing where he's at mentally that has allowed him to stay. And I think it happened like several years ago too. So it's like we're hearing about something after the fact, and that's what we always got to understand is that when content creators provide content to you, you're not, when they're talking about something in the past, you're not getting it in real time. Yeah. And when you get it in real time, it looks very awkward, like you saw in the Derek Jackson and his wife video. You know what I'm saying? Because it's in real time. And so people start criticizing that time. Look at her, she looked blah, blah, because they're trying to provide information when they're not even healed from it. You know, and that's why I say we got to be careful about that we're so busy trying to appease the audience that we're trying to perform for the audience in real time. When work like that, after a betrayal, like infidelity, you need to come off the scene, go heal your relationship. And if God then tells you to step in the forefront and explain it to the audience or let them share in it, then you share in the restoration of it or the demise of it, but you share in that. And when it's the right time.
Hey, listen, it's gonna be an expansive episode. I'm ready for that, man. Do you know what I'm saying? Yep. So listen, we ready for all this great content. You know what I mean? And I'm ready to annotate as well. So I'm ready to annotate as well, sir. So don't you worry. We're ready for you. But listen, audience, it's been amazing again. Another one of our coffee chats. I know it was an early lunch for you guys, but we appreciate you guys turning up, coming strong. The first video is still going, actually, by the way. It's still rising the numbers. And so, yeah, we appreciate you guys for tuning in for that. We hope you will tune in for this as well and share it with somebody who wants to hear some great content from two great brothers as well. So, Notorious, again, thank you so much. We'll have you on here again in a few weeks. Hopefully, I'll be there in a few weeks too as well. So, and we can share some more wisdom together as well. All right. Audience, be easy. I'll be back in a few minutes and we'll talk some more for half an hour just on conflict resolution. And then, yeah, that's it. All right. Much love, appreciation, guys. We'll see you again soon.
Level black, you know what